The San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game is presented by H-E-B and sponsored by CPS Energy, Whataburger, Frost, Banking, Investments, Insurance, Pizza Hut, University Health System, Countywide Service Company, America's Diamond, High School Music Service, Night Office Solutions, Vantage College, Pick and Pull, and North Carolina Furniture Direct in San Marcos.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to All-Star Saturday in San Antonio. We're at the Alamodome downtown, where it's the 38th edition of the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by H-E-B. I'm Don Harris along with Chuck Migotinik. It is East versus West. That means the very best against the best in high school football. What an institution this game has been over the 38 years. Kids look forward to playing in this one.
We're going to split it right down the middle with 281, East versus West. We have over 100 players playing in this game from all over the city, all over the area. We have 40 kids that have already committed to their college scholarships. A lot of players playing in this game today still have yet to commit. They're still trying to sort it out. There's still a few other kids, Don, that have yet to get their college scholarship offers. There's scouts here today. Hopefully we'll get a couple more signed by the end of it.
Lots of scouts in the stands. They'll be keeping their eye on Bryce Rivers. We know he's going to UTSA. Chuck, we've had him in a couple of nights on Thursday Night Lights. We love his arm, and this kid, as I said, going to be a road runner.
Oh, he's a port sider. And Don, you know, I first saw this young man on a baseball field, some kind of pitcher, but late bloomer at the quarterback position, shot up. He's now 6'3", got a cannon for an arm, super smart. Heard he's already graduated from high school, might be enrolling at UTSA early to get acclimated.
From Churchill High School, Court Jaquist does not have an offer yet, but he's going to get one because this kid has a motor like you wouldn't believe playing linebacker for the Chargers.
Yeah, one of our favorite players in the entire city. This young man, you know, and will feel his presence on the football field. You said it, high motor, but outstanding football IQ, and there's no doubt what this guy brings to the table will show up at the next level.
Meanwhile, for the East, Josh Atkins was the San Antonio Greater Offensive Player of the Year. Fantastic young man, big arm, and already committed to New Mexico State.
Here's another one of those guys, Don, too. Tremendous athlete, played all the sports growing up. And again, this is one of those guys, too, got on a lot of people's radars early. Everybody likes his size, they like his arm, but he's got incredible intangibles as well and took Smithson Valley on an unbelievable season this year.
On the defensive side for the East, keep your eye on number 86, Isaiah Sales from Wagner.
Another tremendous athlete. The coaches were telling us his get-off ability at the defensive line position is some of the quickest stuff they've ever seen. This young man is disruptive. He's quite a player. K-State amongst the suitors looking at this young man to bring him up to the next level.
All right, when we come back, we'll key on Juan Morales and Danny Cloza, the two coaches of this one who've had a great time with these kids all week long. Stick around. The San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by H-E-B on the CW35 is coming up. Welcome back to the Alamodome in San Antonio. It's the East-West San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by H-E-B, where we see the best of the best in high school football, the best seniors in the city of San Antonio and the entire area going head-to-head one last time. Chuck, in this ball game, we're going to have coaches Danny Cloza and Juan Morales. Danny Cloza, of course, the coach at Lee High School. He is known for his prolific passing offenses at Lee High School, and I would expect to see his squad put it up.
Don, I mean, this guy's had an amazing career and really vaulted Lee back into the conversation. I mean, when he went back there as a head coach in 2010, program was really down, but they've been a perennial playoff team since he went back. Son of a coach, it's in his blood. Tough guy, you know, Lee graduate, loves the school, loves the program. And again, just can't say enough good things about Cloza. You know the West is in good hands with him.
Kids have had a great time with both coaches. Juan Morales is the coach for the East. Juan, of course, a 23-year veteran in the San Antonio area. His first head coaching job at Highlands High School, and what a turnaround he's made with the Owls.
Oh, indeed. I mean, you know, to go to a program that had no wins the year before and then to win 8 the next year, you know, he spent some time with a lot of great coaches, going all the way back to Larry Paul and Jay, and I did not know he was an assistant basketball coach with the 2002 J team that won state.
Yeah, on the Chris Ross half-court buzzer beater there at the Drum in Austin. He was sitting right next to Romy Vela when that thing hit the back iron and went down. What a state championship win for Jay that was. And he's been to the big dance before in football, as well as a coach with Brennan as an assistant, longtime assistant, great guy. And we're going to have some fun with both coaches. When we come back, we'll have kickoff versus East versus West. It's the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB right here on the CW35. Welcome back to the Alamodome. It's the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. Don Harris, Chuck Bigotenik, and all season long. As you know, Mike Hernandez has been on the sidelines on Thursday Night Lights, and nothing different tonight. Mike will be right down in the middle of all the action. Let's go down the sidelines and Mike Hernandez. Mike?
Thanks, gentlemen. Nice to join you again. And it is a little different, Don, because tonight, because it's an all-star game, we're going to have a little bit more access to not only the players during the game, but also the coaches on both sides. So as things are going and evolving through the game, we'll be able to actually come talk to the players, how it went after scoring the touchdown or getting the interception or making that big tackle. And also, I'm hoping I'm going to get to call some plays as well as we go through the game. I got a couple already picked out. We'll see if I get to put them in the game. Coaches say maybe.
Mike, I know that you have a personal history with this game. I remember your nephew playing in this game many, many years ago and actually getting a little bit of a look, and it turned out to be a scholarship in Nebraska or Arkansas or somewhere?
Yes, and let's stop right now for the playing of the national anthem, okay?
At this time, we request that you please rise, remove your hats, place your hand over your heart, or render a salute if you are a veteran of the United States military, as we pay respect to our flag and country and honor America with the performance of our national anthem this afternoon by Marina Garcia. Marina Garcia became a national social media sensation this fall when she stepped in to sing the anthem at her high school volleyball game after equipment failure. She has since sung at a Spurs game and is here with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem by Marina Garcia.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched with so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang loud, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
What a good job by Marina Garcia.
Marina Garcia from Holmes High School is the MVP so far. It'll be tough to beat that performance by some of these football players out here today. What a job she did. Mike,
Just to finish our thought tonight, Larry Hernandez, my nephew, actually played in one of these all-star games. You were asking about that, and he actually got a scholarship after having a very good game. So it makes a big difference for these kids, and as you mentioned at the top of the program, for those that haven't gotten a commitment yet or an opportunity hasn't come their way, here's another chance, because he had 0 before that. He ended up getting an opportunity to play 4 years of college. So it's a great game and has great opportunities, and it's just a lot of fun, and I'm hoping we're all going to enjoy this. And it looks like it's going to be a fun time.
We know we will. It's going to be a good time. We had a great game last year. As you see, Brock Pittman, he's been with us many times before on Church's Chicken Thursday Night Lights. He'll lead a crew of all-star officials from the San Antonio area out here tonight, and we are just getting ready to get underway. And Chuck, I know we're going to see Josh Atkins to start. We're going to see a lot of fantastic athletes. There's been a lot of talk this week about Mikel Jackson and from Judson and Lumpkin from Steele High School, and the coach is just really overall impressed with all the athletes out here.
Well, you talk about, in order to get here, the process starts by each one of these young men's coaches nominating them to get to this point. And then you have to sift through the list and figure out, how you're going to mix and match and how you're going to get kids in from all over the area and private schools, public schools, and then try to find some continuity to balance out these rosters. But, all these guys are all-stars. What always impresses me, Don, about this is the job that the coaches do and the kids trying to make this look like football when really they only have a week of practice to get this underway. So it's always interesting to watch this all unfold. And again, you get the best of the best. And it's funny, you watch these games and infinitely you're going to find, even in a situation with all of this talent, there's still going to be 3 or 4 kids that still stand out amongst the best. And we're gonna find out who that is today.
We remember Justin Stockton, who really stood out a couple of years ago. He's now playing at Texas Tech. And kicking off for the West squad in our first half kickoff, brought to you by America's Diamond, is Cristobal Flores from Southwest, and back to receive is Bryson Carroll from Roosevelt, and also C.J. Williams from Steele, 2 of the finest athletes in all of town. Bryson's going to go play at New Mexico, and C.J. is still weighing his options, but what a talented player he was at Steele High School for the Knights and Scott Lenoff.
Well, Bryson Carroll is electric. Maybe one of the fastest guys on the field. We're about to see that unleashed if he gets his hands on the football.
Played quarterback for his dad there at Roosevelt. Ball headed his way. It'll be Carroll taking it at the 5-yard line, and he gives a reverse to CJ, and Williams gets a block and then makes his way down the sidelines all the way past the 30, short of the 35. Preston Dimry makes the tackle from Kerrville Tivy. Kerrville fans very excited that they've got a couple of players in this game, and the East will take over. We'll see that East offense first up. We talked about Josh Atkins. He'll wear number 10. He'll be the starting quarterback for the East. He's headed to New Mexico State. Number 14, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he's already growing up to 6'3", big fella. And how about that opening kick and close, already throwing out a wrinkle with a little reverse.
He's got Jackson and Lumpkin back there with him, and there's CJ on the reverse, and it's coming this way again, and he's looking to throw it. Bryson Carroll aired it out, and it's caught. Jawan Anderson from Sam Houston High School, the standout wide receiver, and we got a little Danny Closa chircuration on play 1.
Yeah, who needs a week of practice? They probably put that in the first play.
Oh, wow. Bryson Carroll, of course, played quarterback at Roosevelt, so he can throw it. Jawan Anderson, a very special athlete, both basketball and football at Sam Houston. Here's a handoff inside to Mikel Jackson as we take a look at the replay.
Yeah, Donna, we saw New Mexico where he's going in the bowl game against UTSA, and they run that option-based stuff, and he's going to fit in right well with that throwing arm, and then especially with his ability to run the football.
2nd down and 9 after a short gain. Atkins has to take it off the floor, going deep. Got C.J. Williams out there. That's a
touchdown.
Touchdown.
How about Josh Atkins dropping a dime? We've got some early fireworks in this thing.
Danny Closa showing what he can do. He's had some really prolific offenses at Lee High School, and boy, he's got some skill out here today, and he's using every bit of it as Atkins put that right on the money.
I'll tell you what, that's not a bad first throw of the ball game right there for a kid, huh?
Kick is on its way. It is up and good. The extra point good by Turner Davidson out of Reagan High School. East 7, West nothing. We're coming back to the Dome. We're back at the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. Juan Morales and the East squad lead 6-0. The extra point looked good, but it was ruled no good, and so the East has a 6-0 lead. Turner Davidson missed the kick. Great kicker he is. Jonathan Tapia back to receive this one. Dennis Houston from Warren also back there.
Yeah, we're giving credit where credit was not earned. We know Coach Close is going to have a bag of tricks, but that was Juan Morales' squad doing all that. Colorblind.
Dennis Houston, they're also running a little reverse. Jonathan Tapia's got it, and he gets out of bounds just past the 15-yard line. We'll send it down to Mike Hernandez. Mike?
Okay, so Coach Morales, we were talking about before the game. I mentioned a few minutes ago that he was going to try to let me call a play or two, and I said, well, you got any flea flickers? And he goes, well, we got this reverse pass. He says, but I'm trying to let him maybe call it on the first play. You did it.
We did it. We did it. We said, hey, Mike has a good idea. Let's go ahead and run with it. So that's exactly what we did. No, it was important just to put the pressure on it, get these guys motivated. It's going to be a long game, and we knew that we had nothing to lose. So they got after it and did it.
All right, well, good start.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll check back in with you in a few minutes.
Nick Novak from Bernie High School gets the first carry for the West. Bryce Rivers in there at quarterback.
Going tempo early here, Close's bunch.
You UTSA Roadrunner fans, this is the kid you want to take a look at. He is committed to the Roadrunners as he swings it out to Jonathan Tapia. Tapia, one of the best athletes in San Antonio, is brought down by a host of East defenders.
Boy, indeed, he was really going to make his money playing baseball over at UTSA, but he's some kind of football player as well. Interesting to see if he would ever try to do both sports. But he is some kind of baseball player, Don. I mean, you could make the argument he might be the best in the entire city. I mean, there's nothing this kid can't do on a baseball field, and there's very little he can't do on the football field as well. He's electric.
One of the best wide receivers we've seen as pressure comes. Rivers gets down, has a man, and just overthrew him. He was looking for Dennis Houston. Check that, Hayden McMurray, and he just overthrew him as he had pressure on the backside. It'll bring up 4th and 6, and Danny Close's West squad will have to punt it away.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the arm strength there. Threw that thing flat-footed and threw a laser. Just barely missed the connection, and that's one of those things early too. It's some of those things they got to work out as quarterback and receiver to try to get some tempo, and maybe the next time they're able to connect on that one.
So Dante Cartiel from Madison stands at midfield. He will receive the punt from Connor Chesser from Bandera. As we said, we have a lot of kids from all over the area. No motion called. It's an all-star game. Refs are going to let that slide a little bit. Here's Cartiel. Breaks out of one tackle, and he's going to be brought down there just past the 40-yard line. And the East, which was very electric on their first possession, will have the football back when we come back at the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB.
Golly, geez, that was so bad. Over there stroking the wrong coach.
I was just as guilty.
Oh, what an idiot.
I'll give you $1,000 for every angry phone call we get. What, liner 3? All right. All right. It's a tough gig to spot this game because there's so many guys playing. Welcome back to the Alamodome. We're looking at the St. Anthony cheerleading squad. They were one of the winners of our cheer cam, our cheer challenge that we had all year long on Church's Chicken Thursday Night Lights. So congratulations to the Yellow Jackets and their cheer squad. Our CPS Energy cheer cam. Here's Atkins, hands it to Lumpkin from Steele, and Travell Lumpkin gets past the 50. He's going to make a couple of visits, so still not committed. Had some back problems this year. Didn't play a lot in the state championship game, but he was fantastic as a junior, and he'll be a player somewhere. Travell Lumpkin ran for 432 yards, and that was just with some injuries. He's got it again here as a flag flies. Lumpkin bounces it outside, but it looks like that'll be coming back.
Well, the interesting thing now, Don, if you're sitting over here on the west, I mean, you saw some trickeration early in this thing, and you got to be prepared for everything, thanks to Juan Morales' early play calling.
Holding.
Absolutely.
On the offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
All right, so Brock Pittman making the call. They'll back him up as C.J. Williams checks in for the Steel Knights.
They called holding, but I don't know. Michael Goff may have gotten the end of that.
They let a procedure call go on the punt as we had both a substitution infraction and a false start by the West on that last punt. But the officials have to be a little forgiving here too, because these kids they've had what, 3 or 4 practices together, so it's going to be a little rough. Atkins keeps, finds the seam and dives ahead for about 5, showing off his feet. Boy, he has an incredible cannon for a right arm. And what a fantastic season that the Rangers had under his leadership.
Yeah, you know, playing in a really tough district and week in and week out, you know, Smithson Valley is going to line up and play everybody, and they're going to get after you. What a fine season he's had and a fine career that he's had as well. And I know New Mexico State is really excited to be getting this young man.
Quality kid off the field, too. Pressure, steps up and fires, and ball's going to be pass interference is going to be called. It may have been uncatchable, intended for Mason Lawrence from San Antonio Christian, but went past him, and they're going to discuss it and see if it was catchable.
There is no foul for pass interference. The ball was uncatchable. Third down.
You know, it's so interesting, Don. You know, Mason Lawrence playing from Sacs and Josh Atkins played Little League football together. So it's funny, you know, their careers coming full circle, and here they are trying to make a connection here in the San Antonio Sports All-Star game. That's
what's great about this game. We've seen all kinds of kids get opportunities. Brady Bean, playing defensive back for the West, played at Bracken Christian. He's a 6-man football player, and he's playing in this game. And Reeves Munchow from Canyon on to punt it away, one of the best punters in the country. He's going to Oklahoma to play for the Sooners, and we're going to get a chance to see his leg right here. He kicks it off, and fair caught right there at the 27-yard line, and that's where the West will have it when we come back with the East leading 6-0. Danny Closa and the West with the chance with the football. It's Pizza Hut first down and 10 for the West squad. Bryce Rivers playing quarterback, the young Stevens grad, gonna head to UTSA to play for the Roadrunners. Looking to throw it, now slings it deep. Boy, you could see the quick release and why UTSA likes him, intended for Justin Eaton.
Yeah, big body, stands in the pocket strong. Obviously, you've seen the arm strength. Both of his incompletes there have been overshooting his guys, but the splits on him and his season at Stevens are ridiculous. 26 touchdowns and only 2 picks. Who does he think he is, Aaron Rodgers? I mean, that's unbelievable.
Second down and 10 as he hands it inside. Nick Novak again with Bernie Greyhound. Picking up about 3. Tyrese Adu from Wagner making the tackle. He's got some interest from North Texas, Houston Baptist among others, Houston and Oklahoma State.
Quick hitter right up the hole there.
I tell you what, the one thing we've heard from the coaches this week is they're so impressed with how much talent there is in San Antonio. and also how well coached these kids are no matter where they play. Rivers slings it. It might have been intercepted. Let's look and see the call from the official. The East says it was picked. John Hernandez from Lavernia thinks he's got an interception. They're talking it over.
They're not giving it to him. But he had great inside leverage here. Look at him break on this ball and then cut off the receiver. The tie goes to the receiver, although that was awfully close.
That's the rule. When there's shared possession, it goes to a receiver. And that is, by the letter of the law, the right call, even if the kids from the East don't like it. Nice catch by Hayden McMurray to outmuscle him. First down and 10. A Pizza Hut first down for Rivers. You see a quick release being brought down hard. Getting in there to make the tackle is Colt Fullen from Smithson Valley.
There's so much talk about the Smithson Valley offense this year. How about the burst over there, getting around the edge and coming up with a sack? Just a good old-fashioned speed rush.
Rivers throws a quick slant to Jonathan Tapia, and it's caught. Picks up about 6. It'll be third down and about 9.
I'll tell you, they're really going to try to work to get number 1 the football. He's got unbelievable speed, huge hands. Doesn't drop many footballs, that's for sure. Tapia is one heck of a player.
Here's Rivers again, another slant. That time it's picked off. And headed the other way for the East is Jack Gibbons from Smithson Valley. Touchdown, East. The Rangers showing up big here in the San Antonio Sports All-Star game.
Boy, indeed.
Josh Atkins has a touchdown pass. Fullen has a sack, and Gibbons has a pick 6.
Boy, just an unbelievable play there to just sit down and read the quarterback's eyes. And once he gets his hands on the football, look at him just wait for his blocking to develop, and then speed takes over.
The extra point is good this time by Reeves Munchow. That'll make it 13-0. Jack Gibbons, 6'3", 260. There in Smithson Valley, and the Larry Hill's got to be ecstatic by the way his guys have looked today.
You know, Larry Hill, I mean, year in and year out, no matter what the personnel is at his school, they're obviously one of the best coached teams in the entire area, and he had a lot of talent on this team this year, and we're seeing some of that on display already. I mean, that's just a great play to just sit down, kind of wait for the game to come to you. Gibbons did not miss his opportunity, gets the pick 6, and I'll tell you what, Juan Morales has got to like this start on both sides of the football.
Well, these coaches had such a fun week coaching these young men, getting to know them. A lot of friendships are made. As you know, you're playing against a guy you've been playing with a guy you've been playing against your whole life, from pee-wee football, middle school, and now you get a chance to practice with him all week, and you realize he's not that bad of a guy after all. I kind of like this guy, and make new friends, and these guys all getting ready. They appreciate each other's accomplishments, hard work, and getting ready for the next level. Some will play college football, some will not. This game a reward for all their hard work and really standing out over their high school career at their respective high school.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that, you know, Tapia is going to be playing baseball. There's some other baseball players on this football field too, and some of these kids, we were hearing stories that they had baseball tournaments this morning, had to come over and pull a Deion Sanders, change into their football clothes and play football, and, you know, they missed some practices this week too. So, you know, I think both coaches doing a tremendous job, you know, with a limited amount of time that you can practice and get these kids acclimated to what's going on, come out here and put on a show for everybody.
Tapia back to receive it. This will be taken by Dennis Houston. He gives it to Tapia, and he's kind of snuffed that out inside the 5-yard line. Doing a great job on special teams is Xavier Bryant from MacArthur. Defensive lineman playing special teams showed off his speed. Yeah, Jacob Groff from Churchill also played a basketball game today. He plays basketball for the Chargers and had to get over here in a hurry. There's Xavier Bryant and his list of schools that are showing interest. 6'3", 245, Houston, Texas State, Kansas, and UTSA. Big fella getting down in a hurry on special teams.
Yeah, I was a little slow in developing, trying to run that reverse. I'm able to make a good tackle down there.
It's a Pizza Hut first down for the West. There's a quarterback keeper, Andrew Adame, who's in at quarterback now out of Lee High School. Danny Klozak coaching one of his own.
Yeah,
lost his helmet, so he's got to come out for a snap. And
at least you know he knows the offense, right?
Yeah, he should know the offense. Rivers will have to come back in since he lost his hat there. It's a mandatory rule. And we're getting a chance to see now on the defensive side of the ball. 97, Kyrie Harris playing nose guard, is that huge kid from Sam Houston that had such a great year for the Hurricanes. Handoff goes to Jay Nava. Nice gain here for Nava. Gerald Mitchell from Pleasanton in, making the tackle, only 5'8", but he goes 220, and nice play to get to the football.
How would you like to tackle Jay Nava in the open field? 250 pounds, coming right at you. Play tight end or running back.
Rivers brought down by a gang of Eastern All-Stars. Kyrie Harris among the first ones there, and boy, Kyrie is a load. Very, very talented kid that we had the chance to cover both his junior and senior year. 6'5", 350. On the nose there for the East as Rivers slings the slant out, completes it. Good defensive coverage there, but Connor Cheshire was able to make the catch.
First down.
Good enough for a first down, moving the sticks.
Well, maybe that'll get the West going. You know, right now, East is playing base defense, and you know, just by the way guys are bunched up at the line of scrimmage, you're going to have shots downfield if they want it.
First down and 10 as Rivers pumps. Now wants to fire deep. Has a man, but good coverage. Coming back to try to make the catch was Justin Eaton. But it was incomplete. Good coverage by Dante Cartiel from Madison.
Yeah, Justin Eaton doing a really nice job of coming back for that football. But as you see the particulars on Josh Crossland, already committed to the University of Minnesota, but
arguably one of the better players in town. Just a beast there for Steele on that D-line. And still committed to Minnesota despite all their coaching issues this week. Crossland right there to help on that tackle as Nava ran right through him. But, you know, we talk so much about Steele and making it all the way to state championship game, and they have so much skill positions. Xavier Martin and Lumpkin and C.J. Williams. But Crossley with just an amazing athlete there in the middle for them on the defensive side of the ball. Had a chance to meet Josh a couple of times. Very bright young man, too. As Rivers throws it out here to the near side, and that ball is incomplete. Looking for Michael Cooper. Dante Carhill again from Madison on the coverage.
Yeah, Michael Cooper, we had a couple of their games this year over at Taft, and coaches really couldn't say enough good things about this young man, his leadership ability and how smart he is in the classroom. And obviously you don't joke your way to the Naval Academy, that's for sure. Talk about bright young man. There he is.
Very proud, I'm sure, his parents, as he's going to head to Annapolis. Carhill from Madison back to receive this punt. Connor Cheshire with a fair catch called by Carhill right at the 45-yard line, and the East leading 13-0.
Not an easy play right there. I mean, that was a knuckleball he had to catch.
Let's go down to the sidelines. Mike Hernandez standing by. Mike.
How's it going, guys? I want to introduce you to Joseph Pena here. Now, Joseph is the snapper right now. He's a center. And he also does something special. First, congratulations on being chosen for this.
Thank you, sir.
Out of Holy Cross, I mean, you guys had a pretty good season overall.
Yes, sir. It was very exciting to be able to do that my senior year. It felt great.
Okay, so the thing that I read about you recently is that you also do some powerlifting, and you actually tell us about that, because that's a Texas record.
I hold the Texas record for the biggest squat. It's about 930.
930 pounds?
Yes, sir. 930 pounds.
How does somebody do that?
People don't realize I've been working at it for a really long time, and it's not all just talent. I mean, I freaking, sorry for my language. I've been working at it for a very long time, about almost 10 years as of right now, and I keep on working to always get better.
Wow. What is the world record?
The world record for the open in equipped, I believe it's 1,102. So I'll be gunning for that, hopefully.
That's not very far off, and you're still a very young man.
I'm trying. I keep on working. I'm always trying to get better and always make sure that I'm always doing my best so I can get to that kind of level.
Well, congratulations. Have fun out here today. I hope you've had a fun week of practice meeting some of the players and enjoying and then the whole teamwork.
Yes, sir. It's always been a great experience, and I'm just blessed that I can be here with all these amazing players out here. And we just got to make sure we keep on working so that we can do our best.
All right. Thanks a lot. Back to you guys.
930 pounds.
I was looking at his arms thinking, I don't think my legs are that big.
That's a large young man. Congratulations to him and the Holy Cross Knights. As Bryson Carroll running the show now at quarterback for the East squad. Lumpkin just had the carry. Pizza Hut first down for the East as Carroll hands to Lumpkin, who does a great job of breaking the first set of tackles, but the West right there in gangland. And there's our guy, Court Jaquist, out of Churchill High School. He's got some small college looks, but this kid has got to play Division I football. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the motor, and somebody's going to wake up and give him a look late.
Yeah, I mean, high football IQ. I mean, it's the entire package. He's got good bloodlines. His dad was a great football player. I mean, it's in his blood, and I mean, I don't think it was a reason. You know, you could look at this kid and say one of the many reasons why Churchill ended up in the Region 4 finals this year and an unbelievable playoff run.
That one intended for Cameron Baker. As you look at Court Jaquist, we've had him in the Gucci Bowl a couple of different times, and what the coaches say that have had him this week, and we've known this from both Glenn Hill and Ron Harris, is that he's got a Manu Ginobili type motor. He never stops running towards the football. That one was snagged out of the air. Just an amazing catch by Antoine Ware. My goodness, from Wagner High School.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
He held on to it too, it looks like. Just an amazing grab.
I don't even know what to say about that.
And I don't know, I mean, we could look at it a few times to see if it touched the ground, but let's not. Let's just give it to him. What an effort. Wow. I think it was clean. And a flag flying here.
Substitution infraction on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
As we have a substitution infraction, we talked about Court Jaquist from Churchill, and we talked about Jacob Groff, who comes from great bloodline. You were talking about great bloodlines. His mom, one of the greatest athletes in the history of San Antonio.
Without a doubt.
And the volleyball coach at UTSA. He's down on the sidelines with Mike Hernandez. Mike?
Yeah, he is. I got Jacob right here. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
How's your game going so far?
It's going good, yes, sir.
Now, you mentioned it a few minutes ago, but Jacob actually was playing basketball with the team. You all had a game. Oh, wow. Well, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of big plays in this game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And now here you are. You had to turn around and come right back around. How much time did you have to turn around?
I had like about an hour after the game. I didn't ride the bus back. I went and found my parents. We went and got a Bill Miller sandwich, and I came over here.
Yeah. Well, listen, good luck. You feel rested?
A little bit. I'm a little tired, I have to say, but I just
get you some vitamins or get you some.
How many did you score? How did you do in the basketball
game? How'd you do in the game?
We did well. We won on a buzzer beater to beat Johnston.
Oh, great. And how'd you do?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yes, sir.
All right, let you get back to the game.
All right,
Congratulations. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Legal formation on the offense. All sides on the defense. Penalties all set. Replay, first down.
I'll tell you what, Churchill's got a basketball player over there, Jeff Festerman, who's going to the Air Force Academy. If you haven't seen that kid play, make sure you get out there and see the Chargers.
Oh, I can't wait to wait for baseball season. They're stacked there, too.
And offsetting penalties for Bryson Carroll, who takes this snap inside the West Territory. Here comes Lumpkin, breaking it to the outside, down inside the 5. That's Marquise Duncan from Reagan High School. Thought it was Lumpkin. Ryan Robertson ran him down, but we've seen this speed from Marquise for years.
The coaches were talking about how smart a young man this was and how quickly he picked everything up this week and that he was going to get plenty of touches because of it, but they didn't say anything about that speed.
Only 5'5", 160, but what a burst. Ran for 1,400 yards for David Wetzel's squad.
Yeah, Darren Sproles.
Exactly. Carroll with the inside handoff. That's Michael Jackson, and that's a touchdown for the East squad. The Judson Rocket with 6. Chuck, I remember when we had Judson for the first time on TNL his sophomore year. We talked about all the talent that was coming back, and now he's finally a senior. And I know I talked to his mom this week, and she was very proud. She said, make sure you do not call him Michael Jackson. It's Michael.
And mamas know best, man.
That's right.
That's not what I named my son.
The extra point by Turner Davidson of Reagan is good. So the Rattlers showing with Marquise Duncan's run and Davidson adding the extra point. And the Judson Rocket, Michael Jackson with the 6.
Juan Morales doing a really nice job with his squad, giving you a little bit of everything. You know, they've been really solid on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, to this point in the game. And they've had success not only throwing it, but as you just saw right there, running the football as well. And giving you a bunch of different looks out of some of these sets as well.
You know, high school football coaching jobs are a lot different than the college game. But if this was the college game, Juan Morales would be the hottest name in coaching.
Right.
You know, because what he's done at Highlands in 2 years, when these jobs come open, SAISD would be really, really lucky to hang on to him for a long time. The job that he did at Highlands with that turnaround is just amazing. Not only did he transform an offense or a program that had gone 0-10 a couple years in a row, but he transformed the entire school spirit. And I'll never forget that TNL game when the kids were lined up along the rail in the student section just going nuts because they had won a game and they were winning like their 4th in a row. And so he's changed the culture over at Highlands tremendously, and you can see what he does with talent here with his East squad. He's come out, has a plan, and they are dominating right now 20-0.
I think that's the biggest thing, is that he does have a plan. He has a plan every step of the way. He's got a plan for everything, and then you take the plan and you tell the kids what they expect from them day in and day out, that there's, you know, daily goals and long-term goals, and he's really an unbelievable teacher of the ball game.
Dennis Houston with a nice carry. There was a great story this week in the San Antonio Express News about how his senior year improved so much when his mom came home from serving over in the Middle East, and it was just a very warm and uplifting story. And Dennis Houston, very proud, going to Houston Baptist to play at the next level.
Yeah, had an unbelievable season, and just one of those kids that, you know, has got a lot of good speed, really good hands. If he was an inch or two taller, he might be playing in a bigger school. But, you know, hey, look at that. Over 1,000 yards receiving, 69 receptions. Are you kidding me? On the high school level, 12 touchdowns. Really solid player, and he's just going to get bigger and stronger at the next level.
Yeah, to average almost 16 yards a catch and 12 touchdowns. That's one every week. So congratulations to him. And got lots of personnel changes going on, and that's Andrew Adame in at quarterback from Lee. Straight drop. Fires to Tapia. He's brought down by a host of East All-Stars right there at about the 10-yard line. No gain, maybe one.
East guys doing a really good job of staying at home right there, sniffing out that screen right from the onset. Byron Adanya from Taft.
Seeing the decal exchange went well this week at practice on the helmets. Makes our job tough. That's the end of the first quarter. The East has come out swinging. They lead it 20-0. We'll switch ends and be back with more of the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by H-E-B. We're back at the Alamodome, the beautiful Alamo in downtown San Antonio, as we start the second quarter with the East leading 20-0. And the West squad with the ball with some new personnel. Good to see all the kids getting their opportunities. Dame going deep down the sideline. That ball's a jump ball, and it falls incomplete as he was looking for Dennis Houston. Steven Ratana from McCullum on the carry.
Yeah, really good coverage down there. Again, West defense. I mean, the East defense, I'm telling you, man, I'm colorblind today. They're doing a really good job down there.
Let's go down to Mike Hernandez, who's got the man of the moment right now, Michael Jackson.
Yes, I got Michael Jackson with us. How you doing, son? Congratulations on that touchdown.
Thank you very much. I'm doing wonderful. I feel wonderful, and I feel like I'm going to play wonderful, too.
All right, so, you know, Judson is always a powerhouse. How have you enjoyed this week, practicing with all these fellow All-Stars?
This week, man, I give you a whole biography about this week, but I don't have that much time. So awesome. Well, you hear them. You hear them. They're wonderful, man. It feels like we all know everything to do. So all we do is we go out there, show our talent, come back, chop it up, and have fun together.
Good. Hey, listen, what are your college prospects?
Elaborate.
Well, I mean, who are you interested in? Who do you think's interested in you?
Right now, I'm looking at Nebraska, Concordia. I have a few friends down there. I feel like it'd be fun. I just got in touch with a coach from San Diego, though, and I'm still going to look into and see what they have to offer for me, too.
Let me give you, as a weatherman, let me tell you, San Diego, 70, 0 in Nebraska.
I know, but I'm not going to let the weather stop me from getting my blessing. Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, good. Listen, congratulations on being chosen, and you go out there and you knock them dead, okay? Good luck to you.
Thank you.
God bless. All right, back to you guys.
Great personality from Michael Jackson.
I'll tell you, if he sets foot on that campus, I know where he's going to end up. I know. I have a family friend that was a volleyball player in
USD or San Diego State or
San Diego.
Okay.
Really good academic school. Campus is unbelievable. You get a great education, and you can't beat the weather.
That one's slung out here to C.J. Williams for steal. Ian Blake from Brandeis, the linebacker, on the coverage. Will Cheney in at quarterback for the East. He's the Alamo Heights star. Led the Mules to a great season. Cheney steps up, gonna have to scramble, and is brought down by the ankles before he can get out of bounds. Brady Bean in pursuit. Also, that was Elijah Davis from Brennan who got out there.
Yeah, Will Cheney, you know, I'll tell you what a year this kid had, huh? 3,000 yards passing, 30 touchdowns. Alamo Heights put up unbelievable numbers all season long, and this guy was the engine that could.
Connects here with Jawan Anderson from Sam Houston.
I mean, you see the accuracy, too. I mean, he just didn't miss a beat. Not an easy throw to make at all. Time in the pocket, obviously, credit the guys up front, but finds the soft spot in the zone and makes the connection.
Sets up a Pizza Hut first down for the East squad. Throws a little center screen. That picks up another 5. It's Cameron Baker brought down by Elijah Davis, who was making some plays all over the field in the middle there for the West defense. Yeah, Alamo Heights, I mean, you think Lee likes to throw it. They like to put it up in the air in 09.
Got a good build for football, too. I mean, wide in the hips. He's just a strong player.
Scrambles to his right. Got a man.
How about that?
Caught. Touchdown. C.J. Williams from Steele High School on the receiving end of that one from Will Cheney. And maybe coming back, though, because we've got a flag on the field.
Illegal formation on the offense. 5 men in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So they'll wipe that one off the field, off the board, rather. Brock Pittman with the call. That'll back him up to second down and 11.
Still not going to erase what an unbelievable throw that was on the run. In traffic, put it in the only place he could, which was in his receiver's hands.
Just threw a BB. Pressure coming. Cheney steps out of it. Rolling to his right, lofts it to the corner. And a great effort to catch it. He caught it, but he was out of bounds, was Antoine Ware, who's already made that spectacular catch over the middle. Boy, can this kid go up and get anything thrown his way.
Yeah, this is an unbelievable performance this young man is putting on. I mean, that's 2 of the most spectacular catches you were ever going to see. Who is this guy?
Odell Beckham Jr. Was he in? There's the one hand, and his left foot is in.
Darn. I will be darned.
Well, we don't have a replay, but that's a touchdown. Just an amazing catch, Antoine Ware. Hey, son, they're not going to count it here, but I'm going to give it to you. Put that on your huddle tape.
We're going to send Mike down there to find out where this guy's going to school.
Timeout.
He might skip it and just go play for the Green Bay Packers.
We have a little tradition here. We like to go down to the field and get into the huddles and see what the play calls are. And we will remember this is live television with the live mic, so we brace yourselves just in case. We think there are not going to be any issues with language. You never know. And Mike's going to get up right up there with Juan Morales and his offensive coordinator.
Now we're just going to mix
and Brandon Molina's calling the plays. And Mike's going to find out what Brandon's calling there, and then he'll tell us what's supposed to happen, and let's listen in.
Yes, that's left.
So we're going to look off that front side and see if we can come back.
And we'll, and don't,
smash on the right.
If you get something where you have to scramble out, go on and do it. You're smart enough to be able to do that.
10 personnel.
Hey, find the safety, find the safety. Hey, that's not a safety first.
Okay, so looking to me, guys, like they're going to try to look one way and throw the other. Coach Salinas joining us live here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so what did you just call that?
We call it smash right des. It's basically double post on the backside. We're running a little sit in a corner route to the short side of the field.
In English, that means?
We're trying to get C.J. Williams right here one-on-one with this safety that you see sitting over the top. So if he looks him off front side, we're going to try to hit that middle. There it is. Oh.
All right, guys, so it looks like they were going to try to look off one way and then come back and try to pick up some single coverage. But it looks like they're going to have to settle for a field goal now.
Good pressure by the West defense to get in there. And we'll check in on this offense when they get the ball back. But right now, Turner Davidson is on to attempt a 35-yarder.
Yeah, he stayed, so he went right behind the corner. Okay. Good job, though. Good job.
And the kick is on its way, long enough and true. Turner Davidson, one of the best kickers in town, and proves it. And the East adds to their lead, 23-0 here in the Alamodome. We're in the second quarter. We got much more football and a lot more fun coming from those coaches when we come back.
How'd that go, guys?
Okay, you want to keep this going? You want to send him over to the other side or what?
I could do that.
Well, you got a timeout. You can sprint.
Yeah.
Go across. You can go across. You don't have to go around. Go across.
Okay. Going across. Ladies and gentlemen, the red hat for today. Let's go. I am hustling.
Let's try Derek in the middle on the guest. Okay, I'll talk to you through his mic when I want to talk to you. I'll just put my mic off to the side.
Coach, how you doing? Good. Good. So
Danny,
if it's okay, we'd like to kind of follow you around for the offensive coordinator and you, what plays are called, then you can explain them and stuff. We're in a break right now.
Welcome back. Juan Morales firing up his East squad. They lead at 23-0 here in the second quarter as the East will kick off to the West squad. And Mike Hernandez having so much fun. We're also going to get in on Danny Close's huddles and see what the West is going to try to do offensively. But Chuck, I think it's interesting just to listen in on that huddle and to find out, you know, this is a new voice for these kids, like for a quarterback like Will out of Alamo Heights to have a different voice, a different set of terminology for plays, and it's good for the coaches and for the kids. The kids learning something new from a new group.
Well, it's that, and you know, a lot of these kids obviously been playing since they were 6 and 7 years old, and it's amazing to me how quickly they will pick things up just because of their exposure to the game and how well all these coaches do at every level here in San Antonio coaching these kids.
All right, there's Dennis Houston across the 20. Danny Close, the head coach of the West, calls the plays. Let's go down to Mike Hernandez and see if we can listen to what Danny's doing.
All right, we're going to get in position, guys. Here we go. Hey, where's Maldonado? Maldonado, outside. All right, outside. Hey, we're going Trey. We'll go Trey. Trey left, 7 gap. Trey left, 7 gap. Here we go. Let's go now. Okay, Coach, that was a Trey left. 7 gap, little pulling the guard backside, letting the quarterback read the outside defender. Okay, so he's either going to hand it or he's going to keep it. Gotcha. All right, so here we go.
So it's a running play.
It's a running play
for the West. 7 gap, Trey left.
For once. That's right.
Dylan McCord keeps it himself. Up the middle, and a good gain of about 7.
All right, good gainer there. Connor on the side. Deuce, that boy. Move in. Numbers. You got hits. What's on tap now? Inside zone. RPO it. We throw the hitch. If he likes the hitch, you can throw the hitch outside. If not, he's handing it to the back.
RPO.
Okay, so it's a run pass option here, guys. Run pass option. Here we go. Good option right there. Made a good choice. Made a great choice. You got to get. Hey, make one move and go.
Justin Eaton getting coached up by Danny Close.
That's it. They're always coaching.
Dylan McCord looking pretty good here running this offense from Devine.
Trey, you're off. And run another Trey? We're running another. We got Trey right. We got a gap player with quarterback again. This kid's a good runner, so we like to run him. Oh, yeah.
Nice game. Jason Faulkner getting the carry. Jason Faulkner
give me that.
From Comfort, Texas. Still contend that Comfort has the best uniforms in all of high school football in this area.
Stack 5, RPO. We got another RPO right here. Okay, so another run pass option. He's going to either hand it off or throw the hit screen to one of these 2 outside kids. Okay. So he's going to read the guard. Oh, get on it.
Ball's on the turf. The East has it, and it's a turnover.
I think he tried to pull it. He tried to pull it and throw it, and I didn't think he got it in there enough.
Cam Bryant.
Okay, so turnover there.
on the recovery from MacArthur High School. Nice job by Cam Bryant. Welcome. And the East is right back in action. Don't worry, Mike. He's not going to blame you for that one. You didn't jinx the series.
Tell you what, Malik Thomas from Highland's doing a really nice job blowing that thing up. I mean, he collapsed pretty much the entire right side of the offensive line. Got a tremendous push. Kind of stoned that thing at the gate.
So it'll be a Vantage College first down for the East, and Josh Atkins back in at quarterback, Lumpkin in at running back, and as is Nate Davis.
Boy, all three of these quarterbacks have done a really nice job for the East.
Nate Davis from Madison as Atkins takes off running, gets close to a first down. He's dropped by number 53, Ian Blake, along with Jordan Jackson from Brandeis and Jay, respectively.
Yeah, Juwan Anderson down the field had inside position if he wanted that, but, you know, better safe than sorry sometimes. Josh saw a little seam there and able to pick up a good chunk of change there on first down.
2nd and 3, the hand to Davis. You see his burst up the middle, the Madison Maverick, making Chuck Mikatinik proud, but there's a flag on the play. Ian Blake from Brandeis making the tackle.
Yeah, he's getting more out of that 22 than I ever got at that school.
That was your number?
Yeah.
Offside on the defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, you talked about his burst, though. Foot in the ground, and no doubt getting it up the field. And yard per attempt, that's not bad. Rounded up to 8, which is the number of touchdowns he had on the season as well. Davis, a fine player, and had a fine year for the Madison Mavericks, who are trying to rebuild and get it back to where it normally is, which is win-win-win.
Here's Davis spinning, staying on his feet. Boy, making something out of nothing across the 15, down to about the 14. Nathaniel Magallanes from Jefferson on the tackle. But yeah, Nate's trying to play somewhere, and I'll tell you what, Antoine Ware's 2 catches today. If that kid doesn't have a ride, if I'm a small college coach, if I'm any kind of coach, I'm walking on that field and introducing myself to that kid after the 2 catches he's made.
Yeah, it's like I said, you know, you want to pick the kid for MVP because those are 2 highlights that should be on SportsCenter tonight.
He had the 1 foot down. There's just no replay in high school football as Atkins rolls and fires, has his tight end coming across. Nice catch by Michael Goff. Big Michael Goff is from Johnson High School, 6 foot 230.
Man, just looks like the part, doesn't he?
I've been
a tight end that's that big and strong.
So impressed with the size and speed of area kids just in the last 5 years. It's really, these kids are closer in size to those Army All-Americans than they've ever been. Still much smaller, but boy, 6 foot 230 going to UTSA. Atkins on one of those run-pass options, keeps up the middle himself. Inside the 5, down to about the 4-yard line.
You see it, they fooled me. Had a lot of window dressing, and I went with the receiver, and so did a couple of the West defenders, and Josh was able to turn it upfield and move the sticks.
Mikel Jackson in the backfield there, as is Jesse Sandoval from Harlandale, and boy, we've seen what he can do. Here's Jackson, stumbles down to the 1, but again showing you how hard he runs. And that 24 reminds you of Marion Barber, the way he runs with his hair on fire.
He was looking at the sideline. Hey, can I have another carry, please? You already got one, big fella.
Instead, it's Lumpkin. The Steel Knight bowls his way into the end zone for another East touchdown. Travell Lumpkin. Glad to see him have success. Had an injury-riddled senior year, but just a fantastic kid. And his parents are great. People had the chance to meet and talk with them, and they're really excited about what might happen for him down the road as he's still trying to figure out where he's going to play college ball. But a fantastic athlete and student. As Turner Davidson from Reagan on to kick an extra point. And they're going to say no good. as it was low, and it's 29-0 East. 5:39 left here in the second quarter at the Alamodome in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. Welcome back to the Alamodome. Chuck, you buying the nachos?
Man, I want to go down and get some of those.
That's pretty good.
Josh Atkins' dad sharing with everybody down there.
That might be a Canyon Cougar, I'm not sure, but everybody's fired up to be here at the Dome as we're at the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. A wonderful game to showcase the outstanding seniors in the San Antonio area. Some will move on to Division I fame, some will play small college, and some this will be the last time they ever put on a pair of shoulder pads. But what a great recognition and reward for a career of hard work and excellence on the football field. And Russ Bookbinder, Mary Jaffett, and the staff at San Antonio Sports doing a great job continuing this tradition and moving this tradition to an early January date where even more of these kids can get looks from schools. Tapia takes it. Have a hard time bringing him down. He's down at the 25-yard line. Hayden Levada. Check that, Josh Morgan from Roosevelt there on the tackle on special teams. And I'm sure a lot of these kids may not play special teams regularly for their school. And they're getting a chance to show off their speed and their hitting ability. Offensive guys.
But it's a good indoctrination for them, too, because if they do go on to the next level, more than likely, that's where they're going to have to make their mark early on in their college careers.
And I just want you to get a look, if we can, at the size of this offensive line for the West squad on this series. As the ball is kept by Dylan Rapport from Devine. Coach Closes said this kid can really run the football, and the Warhorses looking good there. Hunter Thompson from Canyon and Tyrese Andu from Wagner making the stop. But we talked about the size of the San Antonio kids. This offensive line, as you look across the front, look at those guys. Tell me you had to feed them this week.
Well, you do, repeatedly.
I mean, this offensive line looking more and more like college football players coming out of the San Antonio area as Record fires it. A little miscommunication on the route as Dennis Houston was the intended receiver.
Yeah, with the look that they are getting from the east, big chunks downfield are going to be available. You just got to hit one of them first. Until they do, it'll be a little easier to bunch in the middle of the field.
Some of these kids on the West offensive line going 290, 305, 330. That ball's tipped out. We go down to the sidelines, and Mike Hernandez standing by with the man of the moment, the Steel Knight, Travell Lumpkin.
Yes, I am indeed. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Congratulations out there.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
I didn't know if you were going to get that one.
Yeah, I mean, my coach told me to go in there at the end, and I just had to finish it. So that's it.
So you had a great season. I watched you the last few years. You're a tremendous running back, and you seem like a very nice young man, and everything I'm hearing about you is positive. What are your plans going moving forward into college?
Right now, my college is top 2 right now is New Mexico and U of H right now. So my top 2 is undecided right now. So it's my.
So let's say U of H right now is going to be going through a transition at coaching.
Yeah. Actually, Coach Herman went to Texas, and now Coach Applewhite's head coach there. And I've been trying to get in contact with him, and New Mexico recently been talking to me and trying to probably get a visit down there soon, real soon.
Yeah, I just watched UTSA and New Mexico play in the New Mexico Bowl, and those guys can flat run the ball.
Yeah, I know. Actually, when I got my offer from there, I always do research, and my research, and I looked up that New Mexico is actually one of the top rushing offenses in the nation. So I'm a running back, so I like running the ball.
It's good for you, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. Well, listen. Good luck to you wherever you decide to go, and I hope all your future it looks as bright as you're out there doing it today, and as you've done all season for Steel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Back to you guys.
Thanks. C.J. Williams, his good friend from Steel, getting in on his 15 minutes of fame there. But
yeah, he's going to Navy, right? C.J.
Yeah. CJ's got a couple of different options, and just really good young man. Scott Lenoff's done such a great job there as Record keeps it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at Steele and you can get on the football field right there, that is a win.
You're already playing college football.
Pretty much.
University of Steele is.
Yes. I mean, it's no easy task getting on a football field if you play for that school.
Yeah, we just saw Josh Crossland make another tackle. That's who they were zoomed in on when we talked 94, as Dennis Houston makes the catch. But, yeah, when you go out to a Steele practice, I'll never forget when Malcolm Brown was there, and we went out in the middle of the playoffs, and I walked out there and just saw, I don't know, it looked like 150 players, varsity, and I said, are these all varsity guys? No, those guys are JV. They were 6'2", 225. And, but Scott Linhoff, going in after Mike Jinks there, just have done a great job to build that program. And yes, they have numbers and they have size and they have athletes, but they also coach them up in the best of traditions. Of course, Coach Linhoff's dad was a great coach, and Scott has done a fantastic job there and just first class. I think the highlight of the football season was the Steele fans holding up the 12s for Josh Pollard right here at the Dome in that playoff game, and that just shows you the class that Steele operates with. 4th down for the West as they go for it. Hit as he throws, but it's caught by Houston. Doing a great job to get in there and pressure was Tyrese Adu, and I believe it was Colt Fullen again from Smithson Valley with the pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and Adu is a really tremendous player too. Yeah, North Texas, Houston, HBU, and of course Oklahoma State looking at him as those guys continue to harvest the area like no other.
Is it illegal if I go down there and tell them the good stuff about the Mean Green? Can I recruit?
Absolutely you can.
He's looking at North Texas, Houston Baptist, and OSU. 6 foot 190 linebacker. North Texas on the, like UTSA, on the rise, on their way back up, hopefully. Terrell Dunlap on the carry.
That's the thing, Don, doing those UTSA games this year. I know you saw it too. A lot of good coaches in Conference USA. We've got one right here in our own backyard, and talent too on all those teams. NFL caliber talent.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to go to the Power Fives to get your chance in the NFL these days, that's for sure.
That ball thrown out to the outside. Terrell Dunlap's got it. He's got a first down to the 40-yard line. Great speed. Brandon Falkway from Lee making the tackle. But I tell you, we saw a real burst there from Dunlap.
Yeah, Cole High School. We've seen kids from bigger schools, kids from smaller schools, all making plays in this game. Dunlap doing a little bit of everything there at Cole High School, as you'd expect. Quarterback, run it, catch it, you name it.
Here's Marquise Duncan from Reagan. He's dropped there by Brady Bean, our 6-man player from Bracken Christian. Coaches said he had a lot of trouble sometimes with some of this terminology because he said, what's cover 2? When you play 6-man, I don't think you play cover 2. Right. You play cover 1 all the time. There's a quarterback keep up the middle by Carroll. But imagine playing not only in your first 11-man football game of your high school career, number 8 in white Brady Bean, but of doing it against the very best. And he shows he belongs with his size and ability out there playing corner on the right-hand side.
Yeah. You also see, too, we always said big kids get big scholarships, but some of these guys are not the tallest kids on the planet. If they were another 5 or 6 inches taller, they'd all be D1ers, but they can play. And, we see it time and time again show up not only at the next level, but also the NFL level. You don't necessarily have to be 6'4" in order to play elite level football. We've got a lot of young men playing in this football game here. I mean, you can use that Reagan running back right up off the top of your list. Bryson Carroll's another one. They're running that veer stuff, wishbone stuff at New Mexico. And they're gonna have good players, even though they may not be the tallest, as we take a look at Brady Bean's bio. Air Force Academy.
Fantastic for him. I know his parents are very proud, and I tell you what, the West is down 29-0, but there's another kid really showing out today, and that is Elijah Davis, number 9, the linebacker from Brennan. We had him a couple of times on Thursday Night Lights. We knew he was a good football player, but he has been absolutely all over the field for this White defense today. One of the standouts in a 29-0 football game. And Elijah is certainly a talented kid who can play at the next level as well. 5'11", 240, was the star and leader of that Brennan Bear defense. And he's leading this West defense as well. He is playing with enthusiasm and just talking to the coaches there, got his own plan. I mean, he's a leader through and through.
Doing some sticker swapping too this week, it looks like.
That's fun. I imagine, of course, it's changed since we were kids with Facebook and Twitter and social media, but a lot of these kids just know, you know, you line up against a kid from the 7th grade on, you don't know him very well, and then this week you get to play with them, and they were real excited to make new friendships this week, because we were having about a 52-yard attempt by Turner Davidson. Not going to get there, as it's going to land about 5 yards short. The snap was low and the hold was rough for him to get a good beat on it, but I'll tell you what, 52. I don't care if it's indoors or not. That's a long way.
Yeah, he must have it in his game or they wouldn't have run him out there. Yeah, the rhythm of that got messed up a little bit with the low snap, and then good job by the holder, though, getting the ears up.
You see what he did this year. 31, 34, 237s, and 240-yarders. Reagan's had some very good kickers in recent years, and Turner right there at the top. Only 25 seconds to go in the half. The West will try to regroup at the break. As Rivers is back in, firing left-handed. It's caught by Michael Cooper, the Taft star wide receiver. That'll stop the clock to move the change. Zach Dimencio from Clemens makes the stop. First down and 10. Rivers again scrambling to try to get to the sideline, get out of bounds with about 8 seconds left, and that'll be enough to maybe have one Hail Mary attempt.
Not. Get your eyes in the back of your head and keep your head turned around, or Jonathan Tapia may blow you up. A nice
head
shot
on a
in
swivel
there
with one around.
That's what I'm talking about. I tell you, there's nothing wrong with Bryce Rivers' arm.
Yeah, he'll get it down there if he gets the time enough to throw it and wait for his receivers to get down there. Intercepted. Thought it was broken up, but it was intercepted by number 25, and that is Harold Watson, the Judson Rocket. Coaches were really impressed with his practicing this week.
And I'll tell you another kid who showed up in this game too is 34, John Hernandez from Lavernia. Just 5'9", but he's made a couple of plays back there. He may have gotten his hand on that ball too before it was picked.
All right, so it's been all East here in the first half, but we've got a second half to play. East over the West, the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB returns with our halftime show right after this.
Welcome to the University Health System Halftime Show.
Welcome back to downtown San Antonio. We're at the Alamodome for the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. The East leading the West 29-0 here at halftime. Of course, it's a big week in San Antonio for high school football, not just the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game, but also the host of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, which has produced such stars as Ezekiel Elliott, Adrian Peterson, and the list goes on and on, Vince Young and others. And our cameras rode along with some of the nation's best high school football players this week and members of the U.S. Army as they made a visit to University Hospital earlier this week.
So our role in the hospital is just to try to make it as normal as possible and help kids cope with being in the hospital. So having different visitors come in and special visitors like the players today like really brightens up the children's day and kind of breaks up the day for them. It's exciting to see my patients that I've worked with for a long time and being able to witness them have different interactions with people from the community. Especially around the holidays, it's really hard to be a child in the hospital. So just little things like this help brighten their days and kind of bring happiness to them while they're in the hospital.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Nice to meet y'all. Jillian.
I'm Rutger. Nice to meet you, Adam.
A lot of y'all.
They're here to inspire you, and I think you.
Yeah.
So now they better win, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is my last inpatient chemo, so.
We've been extremely pleased with the care we've gotten here. We love of course, we love the doctors and the nursing staff. They become your family, and they've been wonderful. We just really appreciate them coming here today and taking time out of their schedule.
Today it's hard to describe how to be here because it brings a lot of emotions. You know, I got 3 kids, I got 3 children at home, and seeing the kids out here, you know, with the players and everything is just overwhelming. But in a good way, it's a great experience being able to come, you know, being here for them. You know, giving the same way that we motivate them, they motivate us.
I mean, the game itself is just an opportunity for everybody to showcase their abilities and represent the, you know, the brave men and women who serve our country. But just this whole experience is just about the community, just outreach and being able to we're having a good time. We're out here just, you know, doing us, hanging out with the Army guys, being able to meet new people, do community service like this. So, I mean, that's kind of how you can tell it's not just about the football game, it's more than that.
We just want to say thank you to the U.S. Army Bowl players and the military guys for coming out and making an impact with our patients today.
Thank y'all very, very much.
I know the players visited hopefully to brighten the spirit of those young kids, but guys like Derek Kersitter from San Antonio said it worked just the opposite, the other way around. Congratulations to the Reagan Rattler. He played in the big game earlier this week. He was selected to play in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. He was an offensive lineman for the Reagan Rattlers. His big brother, a college football player, changed his commitment recently. He was initially committed to Oklahoma State, and now he is changed with the Tom Herman hiring, and he's going to be a Longhorn in Austin at the University of Texas. So congratulations to Derek Kerstetter. When we come back, more of our halftime show here at the Alamodome, East over the West, 29-0 at the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game, presented by HEB.
You're watching the University Health System Halftime Show.
And welcome back again. We're at halftime now in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game. I'm joined by Russ Bookbinder, the CEO of San Antonio Sports. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Another successful game. It's hard to believe it's 39th annual. How do you explain this kind of success and longevity?
Well, there's a lot of people involved for a long time. We've had it for about 4 years in the Alamodome. San Antonio Sports has continued to try to grow the game, and this is another year of growth and another year of fun with great players, high character, good athletic ability. So it's been a lot of fun.
So you talk about those issues, those items. Is that part of how does the selection process work? I mean, how is that actually determined?
Well, we have 75 coaches in the area submit names for the team, and they submit their best athletes, their seniors. They also give some references on characters, some stories about what they've done within their school. We have a great panel of committee of selectees who do that. Those are guys who are in the San Antonio Sports Mount Rushmore, Jerry Comalander, Frank Arnold, Doug Ferris, and we obviously have Don Harris and Chuck McIntyre, who in their own right are just experts in what they do. And so we have media, we have guys who've been in football, coached it, been athletic directors. They look at these kids, get them up on a board by position, talk about it, select them based on their merits, and then they're here on the field.
So is it something that's done periodically through the season? Because sometimes the kids, you know, they actually begin to the late bloom, some of them, or sometimes it takes them a while to kind of get going, or is it done all at one time?
Well, usually we have the selections probably after the 6th game of the season. So the coaches have a pretty good idea of who their seniors are, what their capabilities are. About 5 games in, you know what's going on with your team. So we respect their judgment.
We were talking about this before we went on. Looks like this year there's about 40 of the young ball players out here today that are either already committed to college or are being looked at by colleges. That's got to make you feel good.
And that's the purpose. San Antonio is an under-recruited marketplace. We don't get the same attention as Dallas or Houston, but more and more college recruiters now are paying attention to San Antonio. It's a great way to get exposure for our guys, not only at the D1 level, but the FCS level at D1, the D2, D3, NAIA, getting kids scholarships so they can get their education paid for, get a last look here.
Yeah, and I think that's important because for a lot of kids, we were talking about this before the game, my nephew played in one of these games years ago. He didn't have any looks at that point. He had a very good game, and all of a sudden he went to college. So it's another opportunity, it's a real opportunity for a lot of these recruiters to come and check them out.
Absolutely, and we're happy to do it. We're grateful to HEB for their partnership, for Sinclair Broadcasting, who's helped us all year long on this. So we're just grateful. It's a great event. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the great crowd that's here today.
Thank you, and thank you for letting us be a part of it. Russ, take care. All right. So speaking of high school football, Thursday Night Lights, of course, has become a tradition in its own right. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights of this 2016 season. A little damp.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't the rain.
Your players told us a little ahead of time that they were going to be doing that.
Yeah.
I won't tell you which one.
Have the last laugh tomorrow for sure.
He's going to throw it over the middle and caught. Touchdown, Churchill. It's Groff. Williams has the middle of the field open, and his speed buys him some more time. Now he airs it way deep, and he's got somebody way back there by himself. Touchdown, Judson. Straight drop, he's going for his big guy in the back corner. Pinned right, went up and just took it away from the defender. Touchdown, Huskies. Fires over the middle, got a man wide open, caught. Touchdown, Unicorns. It's Kason Hickingbottom, the running back, came out of the backfield and nobody was in his area code.
How about the throw, though, by Roel Sanchez? Off his back foot, throws a dime, and Tapia's like, man, this is too easy.
Your district champions, O'Connor Panthers.
Welcome back to the Alamodome. East leads West 29-0 at the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. Let's take a look at our first half highlights as it was all East. Josh Atkins got it started on a very good first drive. C.J. Williams from Steele with the touchdown. And then we had a pick six. Jack Gibbons from Smithson Valley taking it to the house as the East went up 13-0. And the landslide continued with Mikkel Jackson from Judson.
Yeah, the East guys had it all going. First through the air, then they do it on the ground and get the Lumpkin touchdown there for their 4th score of the game via the end zone. It's been all East so far, and I've been really impressed, really, with the guys up front, both offensively and defensively. The East guys dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and hence your score, folks, 29-0 at the break.
We'll see if the West can get back in it when we come back to the Alamodome right after this.
Thanks for watching the University Health System Halftime Show. Stay tuned for the second half kickoff. The San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game is presented by HEB and sponsored by CPS Energy.
Welcome back to the Alamodome. It's the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game presented by HEB. And the East will kick it off to get us going here in the 3rd quarter. Turner Davidson from Reagan High School will kick it off, and Michael Cooper from Taft is back there along with Justin Eaton from Brackenridge.
You have to be really impressed with what this East squad has done in this first half. I mean, they've completed 9 of their 12 passes in this football game. They've only had 1 penalty and no turnovers. How efficient is that?
Here's Eaton from Brack all the way near the 30-yard line, and we'll see the personnel groupings. Again, these coaches have a tough job because all these kids were chosen equally, so it's not like you have a first team and a second team. You have to split them up into first string, second string, but they want to make sure all these kids get a look, and they're going to start the 3rd quarter the same way they did the first with Bryce Rivers, the UTSA Roadrunner, leading the West on the field for a HEB first down as a little reverse action comes this way. Wanting to throw it, and does, is Connor Cheshire. It's caught by Jonathan Tapia, and he gets all the way inside the East 40-yard line before finally being brought down by Rochelle Latiker from Madison.
You could tell what a special player Jonathan Tapia is. I mean, what an unbelievable catch this was. The throw wasn't bad either, don't get me wrong. But he did a great job of coming back for this football. And then it becomes a scramble drill at that point. He's able to bust it upfield and get about another 15 yards.
First down and 10, signs of life from the West. Rivers steps up in the pocket, fires, and that one's going to be short. Again, good penetration by the East front 4. Hayden McMurray, the intended receiver. Dante Carhill from Madison on the coverage. But you're right, Chuck, you mentioned that East squad getting the job done up front. It all starts with 94, Josh Crossland from Steele, who's headed to be a Gopher at Minnesota. After the weather in San Antonio the last couple of days, why you would want to go to Minnesota, I have no idea, but good for Josh. Fires out here to Novak, the kid from Bernie. He picks up a good 6 yards before being brought down by Gerald Mitchell from Pleasanton.
Yeah, he does a really nice job of finishing off this run at the end. Gets the ball out in the flat, cuts it back upfield, and going to fall forward for another 2 yards.
Nick Novak being recruited by both Air Force and Augustana, which is a Division III national championship powerhouse.
Yeah, Kenny Anderson. Days. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback went to Augustana.
Oh, big hit on the outside as the ball was juggled. Gerald Mitchell, check that, Jacob Wallace right from Navarro with the big hit. What a season Navarro had. Losing to the eventual state champions, West Orange Stark out of the Beaumont area in the state semifinals. But Orange Stark went on to dominate the state championship game, and it was the first time in the history of the school at Navarro that they had started a season or went 11-0. I think they went 13-0 before they finally were beaten by West Orange Star.
Yeah, the last unbeaten in the area.
Rivers keeps, shows his speed. Bryce Rivers inside the 15.
I don't know what was said at halftime, but I'm sure Danny Closer was not real thrilled with what was going on in this football game in the first half. But whatever he did, whatever he said, they've come out with a lot more fight and a lot more punch here to start the second half of this football game. This is a heck of a drive, and obviously their best of the afternoon.
Rivers hands it inside, nothing doing there. That's the beauty of this All-Star game, Chuck. You want to know what he said at halftime? We'll send Mike Hernandez right over into the huddle to ask.
About Xavier Bryant busting that thing up for MacArthur.
All right, Coach.
Back, you're leading. Let's go.
Oh, Mike's down there already. I was just kidding, but he's there.
Coach Clausen. How you doing? Good, good, good. So, what'd you tell them at halftime? Because they seem really fired up.
Hey, we're playing. We got 2 hats here. We're playing every one of them. So we got. That was not a good read there. He should have kept it. It's all right. We're good.
All right, third down coming up. Third and 12.
Here we go.
Yeah, it wasn't a good read because Jacob Wallace Wright was right in there on the stop again.
71 arm bar.
We got Hitches with a post with Houston over here.
Say that again?
We got a post with Houston over here.
All right, so look for Houston. Dennis Houston, number 15. He's going to run a skinny post.
Here we go.
Pressure coming.
Pressure coming. Oh, good catch.
Michael Cooper on the backside with the reception.
Yeah, Cooper doing a really nice job coming back with this football, too. A little underthrown. Got himself an angle, came back, really made a nice play there.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. What's the call,
Follow
Coach?
route. Screen. Screen. Let's go now. Come on.
Okay, 4th and 10.
Corner.
What you calling now, Coach?
We got a corner route here coming.
Corner route.
Corner of the end zone.
Tapia.
One step inside here.
Corner of the end zone, guys. Where's it going?
All right, see if it was right or left. Tapia's going to the corner.
In the corner.
Got him.
Touchdown.
The West is on the board.
Just like you draw it up.
You know, Tapia was one of those guys that we're looking forward to having all week. I know Coach Closer was really impressed with what he saw from that young man during the course of workouts this week. Jonathan's got unbelievably big hands. And I don't know if you can drop a ball when you've got hands as big as he does, but he's just a great athlete, and finishing this playoff and the drive in the end zone for 6.
Billy Sanchez with the extra point, young man out of Burbank High School, is good, but we may have a flag. We do have a flag. We'll let Brock Pittman tell us what's going on. You're going to count it.
Personal foul on the defense. Leaping, number 86. That penalty been enforced on the kickoff.
All right, so the extra point is good. It is 29-7. The East over the West. They'll penalize on the kickoff, and we'll be right back with the East with the football when we come back. Welcome back to the Alamodome. Signs of life from the West, who will be kicking off at the East 45. I think the goal here would be, if I was the kicker, and I'm not a kicker, but if I was Cristobal Flores from Southwest, I'd see if I could put it through the uprights.
I would try an onside kick, but that's just me.
That's true. Worst case scenario, they're going to get it at about the 28-yard line. I bet you they didn't have a whole lot of practice time for that. It's a little.
Yeah, they may not allow it either.
Reverse. And look out. Good tackle by the West squad as Bryson Carroll brought it out to the 15. Brady Bean from Bracken Christian, our 6-man player, on the coverage, making the stop.
How many lanes is Bryson Carroll going to get to run in that New Mexico offense? We talked about them being a great rushing team. Heck, they were the best rushing team in the nation. UTSA did a really good job in that bowl game, by the way, holding them down.
Absolutely. Let's go down to the sidelines. Mike Hernandez.
All right, and I'm joined by Jonathan Tapia from O'Connor High School. How you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Congratulations on the TD.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so we got to actually watch the coach call the play, and we saw you get the slot, and he called it for the corner. What'd you think as the play developed?
I think it was pretty good. It was straight man over the top and man outside with the linebacker help underneath, so I just had him one-on-one to the corner.
All right, so Chuck McIntyre is probably your second biggest fan here tonight. Me being the first, I just try to convince you to go into football too. I know you're a baseball commit for UTSA, but can we get you to run back kickoffs and punts and stuff?
I would love to, but my heart is with baseball, so yeah.
I understand, and that's where Chuck really talks really highly of you. So, what are your thoughts going to UTSA as a baseball player?
I think it's gonna be a good experience, and I like Coach Marshall and Coach Blair and all the coaches up there, so it's gonna be good.
So as far as other recruits that you're seeing that are going to be going to UTSA, how's the team you think going to be looking?
Should be pretty good. I mean, Conference USA, to see a conference championship soon.
They got some good teams that come out of that conference.
Yes, sir, definitely.
All right, well, listen, good luck to you. I hope you have the rest of your game I get 2, 3, 4 more touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
And good luck at UTSA, and I'll be out there watching you, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks, Mike. East has 3rd down and 8 as Will Chaney is running the show at quarterback. Throws a little slant over the middle. It's caught. Tough catch by Nick Sion. His first catch of the day. Nick is from St. Mary's Hall, another private school kid showing up here today.
They got to hand it to the East quarterbacks. All 3 of these guys, Atkins, Chaney, Carroll, all of them, when they've gotten their chance, have all done a really good job completing passes. You see Sione's numbers on the season, 36 catches and 10 touchdowns.
All right, so Reeves Munchow on from New Braunfels Canyon, going to punt at Oklahoma. And there you see why. Turning that baby over and backing up the guy all the way down to inside the 30. But what a kick by Reeves Munchow. Wow, very impressive. We'll be back with more Wes Has a Football when we come back. 29-7 here at the Alamodome. East leads West. Danny Closer, the head football coach at Lee High School, coach in the West. And Mike Hernandez is going to join him as we check in on some of the offensive play calls. Bryce Rivers, the starting quarterback, in again. And he's booting out to the left-hand side, being chased, and great pursuit. Colt Fullen from Smithson Valley is really showing up here today.
That guy was in the backfield pretty quick there.
Yeah, but he's got to get rid of that. Connor, Trey.
It's pretty simple. Closes play calls. You're not hearing like 42 gap XY, all that kind of stuff. He just signals it in. What is it?
You're off. You're off. You got a tight end.
It signals. Okay, what's the play? What's the play?
A little crossing route with our slot receiver right here.
Crossing route with the slot receiver.
With the slot receiver, got a little dig behind him.
There he is. He's wide open. Oh!
Smart play by Rivers. Cam Bryant
he's got to get it to him.
Doing a great job to
looks like they're putting a lot of pressure on him though right now.
Trey, go.
Okay, what's that?
4 vertical routes. 4 vertical routes.
4 verts. That means
everybody's going long. Huh?
See if they can buy Rivers a little
so
time.
Everybody's going to be going deep on this one, guy.
Yep, and Rivers has to have time to throw it if that's the route.
And that's been the problem.
Great connection.
What a throw.
Zach Duncan on the reception. Zach, first catch of the night. Nice player from Bernie Champion. Tight end.
Here we go.
Do slab. Connor, over here. Do slab. Here we go. Let's go.
All right, so fly. What's this one now, Coach?
Zone right. Zone handoff to running back.
Okay. So he's going to read zone right here.
Yep.
Jason Faulkner.
This will be a running play to the right, guys.
And in motion. And we have a false start.
Come on, drop.
Chuck, aren't you it's interesting to see how simple the calls
on
are.
the offense, number 86. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You think that's part of the just having an all-star game where it can't be too complicated?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I mean, we talked about the fact that, you know, you have 3 or 4 2-hour practices in 1 week. You got all these guys that, you know, some of them you've coached, some of them you've seen, some of them you haven't. You have to evaluate guys and try to implement your game plan and get it. Like I said, I'm always impressed with how much continuity there is given the fact that you're playing 11-on-11 football.
Rivers looking to his left, fires that way, has a man. And boy, I've been real impressed as Jacob Groff, the intended receiver, real impressed with his quick release. UTSA's got him coming in as well as Frank Harris from Clemens, who's not playing in this game because he had knee issues towards the end of the season. But they've arguably got the 2 best quarterbacks coming out of San Antonio staying right at home.
Yeah, I'm just really impressed, though, honestly, with the quarterback play in this city overall.
Yeah.
In every quadrant of town and in the outlying areas. A lot of tremendous athletes and guys that have a real good feel for the spot.
Kid from Devine looked good, too. Look at that deep ball thrown and just overthrew his intended receiver. That'll bring up 3rd and long. Let's check in with Mike and see what Close has got up his sleeve on.
Okay,
3rd and 15.
3rd and long.
I got it.
I mean, that was a 50-yard ball right there. Flat-footed.
Yep.
Hey, right there, Trey. Everybody's gone. All right? A. Gone. Opposite hash. We're running an option route with this kid right here with Tapia.
Okay. Option to Tapia here.
Get on top.
All right, look at Tapia. He's on the inside slot at the top of your screen.
Right there.
And just blew it up to the defensive line. Colt Fullen again from Smithson Valley just winning the battle up front along with Josh Crosland and others. Just an impressive performance by the defensive front of the East squad.
Yeah, I mean, they're just got a quick first step up there, just making some things happen. And I mean, again, if you're quarterbacking on the west side, it's tough when you take a 2 or 3 step drop and all of a sudden there's a guy in your face.
Connor Cheshire from Bandera will punt it away. CJ Williams from Steele, very dangerous if he gets a chance to return this. If I was the West squad, I would not kick it to CJ. He's gonna take a hop at the 20, a good roll. Cheshire with a nice long punt inside the 11-yard line. That's where the East will have it. When we come back, up 29-7 here at the Alamodome.
Football game is presented by HEB and sponsored by CPS Energy, Whataburger, Frost, Banking, Investments, Insurance, Pizza Hut, University Health System, Countywide Service Company, America's Diamond, High School Music Service, Night Office Solutions, Vantage College, Pick and Pull, and North Carolina Furniture Direct in San Marcos.
We're back, and the East has the football. Will Cheney in at quarterback from Alamo Heights for the East. He's got the 2 backs that started the game. Lumpkin, who's got the football, coming this way. Scored 1 touchdown already today. Picks up about 5. Nice tackle by Brandon Falkway from Lee.
Guy's getting after it.
That was a big hit. I heard it all the way from up here.
Indeed we did.
Mason Lawrence split to the far right from San Antonio Christian. Antoine Ware's made a couple of big catches today. Another big hit is Mikel Jackson gets the carry. That's going to set up 3rd down and about 5. Duran Ramos from Lee on the tackle. Mike, what's the call here? 3rd and 5.
So what's the call here on 3rd and 5?
Well, they're going crazy, so let me see here.
Coach, something to do with some big ears? I don't know.
Well, we're going spread. I didn't get to see the beginning of the shot, so.
You can run for it.
And Will's been doing that to us all.
Picked off. intercepted by the West.
Will's been scrambling.
Ryan Robertson from Kerrville-Tivy.
He's been tough. Yeah, of course, that's a tough one. That's scramble drill. Some of the receivers just weren't on the same page right there.
Yeah, thought Chaney Mike could run for the first down. Instead, he tried to communicate to his receiver to take off and go deep.
We might have missed out. We should have probably gone with what Don wanted.
So
I got one for you later, Coach.
He says he's got one for you later.
All right, we'll be ready then.
All right, think about it really, really well. You may only get one shot at this time.
All right, I know what I want. But we have an interesting situation here. The West can get right back into this football game. Bryce Rivers on. Great play by Ryan Robertson from Kerrville-Tivy. I had some Kerrville folks tell me in the pregame, look out for him. Reverse coming this way, a lot of room, all the way down to the 10 before going out at about the 6 is Dennis Houston, who Chuck has really shown well today, the kid from Warren.
Yeah, he's shown well all year long, and hence the reason why he's here. But, Don, I believe we got a little bit of a momentum surge here.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the West, huh? I mean, they came out, scored a touchdown, and more importantly, on the defensive side of the ball, they've gotten 2 quick stops. So that's how they're going to get back in this football game, too, getting stops and then capping off some of these drives. But they stick this in, we may have a ball game after all.
Absolutely. Big, tough running back, Jay Nava from Holy Cross, gets about 2. I tell you what, that East front 4 has just been tough to penetrate. Whether it's Crossland or the kid from Sam Houston.
Yep.
Kyrie Harris, just, there's some big young men in the middle of that defensive front.
Yeah, Benzak from Antonian.
Rivers scrambling. Has a man throwing that way. Tapia, did he catch it?
Sure he did.
Touchdown. What a play by Jonathan Tapia. We've seen some fantastic one-handed catches here today.
We've seen a lot of good athletes, and I'm really impressed right here with quarterback Bryce Rivers. You know, he had him initially, but the coverage was pretty good. And then Tapia kind of freestyled, and Bryce kind of floated with him and waited for him to really get clear, and that's a tough throw to make if you're a left-handed thrower rolling that way.
That's a kid right there who doesn't want to play football.
He's smart.
He's so good at baseball that he's not going to play football even though he has that ability. Yeah, baseball doesn't hurt as much.
Amen to that. And, you know, he's the kind of kid, too, we didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier. You know, when he gets on base, as we have a flag on the play here, and he gets on base often, if he's at first, he's stealing second and third on.
Running into the kicker on the defense. Penalty decline. Try for point is good.
Here's another look as Bryce Rivers. Great touch on this ball, too. And Tapia with one hand. You said earlier about the size of his hands, like frying pans, and he was able to just grab it out of the air.
Yeah, just a great pitch and catch all the way around on that one, finishing off the drive. And again, all right, you're the West squad. You're getting your lunch handed to you at halftime. You come out here and you've scored on 2 of your first 3 possessions to start the second half. Your defense is playing a heck of a lot better than it did in the first half. We still got 2:21 left in the third quarter. You get another stop and another score, might start to make those guys on the East a little nervous.
They may not be willing to hear my play call. Mike down there? Mike Hernandez, if you can hear me, tell...
What's that, Don?
I said if you can hear me, tell Coach Molina, the offensive coordinator, I want a jet sweep with Marquise Duncan.
A jet sweep with Lumpkin, okay.
No. Marquise Duncan from Reagan.
Marquise Duncan, okay.
See if they may not have it in the playbook. Cristobal Flores will kick it away. Southwest. Back to receive it is Bryson Carroll. He's going to give it to CJ. CJ Williams from Steele reverses field. Gets up the middle. Oh, he had one man to beat, and it was going to be very interesting making the tackle there.
All right, so Don, I passed on the call.
Yeah.
Here we go. Wait, I'm going to get in the
like
huddle with
it?
him. Here we go. Yeah, they like. Hold on. Here we go.
10 personnel. Hey, we're gonna go spread, and we're gonna go our stream stretch left. Our stream stretch left on one-on-one. Ready? Let's go. You're on the other side.
So I think that was the play, Don.
Okay.
Was that the play?
Go to Coach Molina.
Oh, yes. Stream. It's just stretch left.
Stream
we're
stretch
gonna get
left.
one right here to Duncan, right here.
All right, this is
Here we go.
You see him on right inside the 20-yard line.
Right here, we're gonna
The
send
bottom
him
of your screen, he's going to go in motion to the top. There he goes. Hand it to him.
You're going to get the young man killed.
Got him 4 yards. I thought he was going to get outside.
I think they must have heard that, Don. I think the other side heard that.
But come on, dude. I mean, you get a chance to call a play. Why not a flea flicker or something cool?
They already ran that.
Like
they
the
already
play
ran
I
that.
called.
Well, my second favorite play would be a pump and go with Jawan Anderson. Straight vert. But I've already run my play. Chuck gets one.
Let me see. Let's see here. Oops, excuse me.
That's pretty good.
Like that. That was pretty safe.
3rd and 3.
Act like you're going to do a lateral and just do the quarterback keeper.
3rd and 2. You got to get the first down here.
Okay, I think they're going to try to get the first down first.
Yeah.
Let's see what they're doing.
Yeah, since
but Mike, if he's
money on first down,
if he's got
we're gonna go right by. We're gonna get both tight ends on this side, and we're gonna go power to the right side.
Okay.
That's gonna get a guard from the backside pull into this front side, and we're just gonna heavy it right to this front side.
So a student body right kind of thing, huh?
Yes.
delay, that's going to set him back.
I think that was my fault. I'm taking that 5-yard penalty.
It's going to be 3rd and 7. You only have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
3rd and 7.
Illegal substitution on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Way to go, Don.
Wait,
I'm trying to throw the game.
My play got 4 yards. That's all I want to say. That's all you want on first down.
Throwing off the continuity and the rhythm of this offense.
Marquise didn't stretch it all the way to the sideline.
Like they were going to run something power right with Big Danny Garza, number 78.
Okay, they're calling a timeout now.
Well, they have to. We've kind of messed with their brains. They got 18 offensive coordinators.
I think we should not help them so much.
They don't need our help.
Second half.
But they're up 29-14. 43 seconds to go here in the third.
20, 20, 20. We're going to go 10 personnel. We're going to go switch, okay? That's early out of the backfield to the wide side of the field. Okay? And we're going to go switch, and we got to read it. Remember, the sticks are right here at about 10 and 12. We got to drive vertical, okay? If they're not sitting down, okay, we're going straight, okay? Make sure you get into those sticks. Hey, protection. If they're bailing out, shut it down. It's peanut butter. It's peanut butter. It's peanut butter. We got 10 personnel. 10 personnel.
Peanut butter, Coach?
Yes, sir. Anytime it's peanut butter, it's like a 5-step protection. We have several calls to make sure that we're mixing up the calls, but it means the same thing. So we'll have raspa, we'll have paleta, we'll have all kinds of stuff. So these guys have been practicing this all week. So
any food means like 5-step drop.
We're going to get a pass going right here.
Got a man. Good defensive play.
Punt, punt, punt!
C.J. Williams, the intended receiver, broken up by Miles Puller from Brandeis, who made a nice defensive play there.
You got great athletes on both sides of the field, so even the best laid plans, right, of mice and men can go awry.
And exactly what we told them at halftime to say, Coach Koza and his staff, they do a great job. We knew they were going to make some adjustments. So it's, again, trying not to make sure we give them too much momentum and see if we can hold them down here long enough so we can get ourselves going again.
Thank you, Coach.
Munchow stands at about his 8. He'll kick it from the 10. Let's see what he's got. He already boomed one. All the way back. Tapia will take it at the 40. And Tapia dancing around a little bit and will lose about 1 on the return. And just so happy to be a part of this game. Just so many great kids, including Jordan Jackson from Jay, another outstanding student athlete, committed to Brown University. He's going Ivy League, running a 4.5, got a 31-inch vertical jump, 6'3", 200-pound linebacker, and good for him to go play Ivy League football and continue his education there.
How much do you think an Ivy League education is worth in today's world? For free?
At least $250,000, $300,000. It's got to be 70 grand a year. Just tuition. Amazing.
And guaranteed job when you get out, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
Where the jobs come looking for you, you have to go look for one.
Andrew Adame in at quarterback from Lee. Looking at Michael Cooper on this side. Stepping up and looking for Cooper and throwing it. That ball got caught up in the air. Cooper came back to get it, but it was broken up late. Good hustle on the play.
Did Harold Watson? No.
Harold Watson got in there, yeah, towards the end.
Josh Morgan, 28.
And I also believe Hunter Thompson from Canyon hustled in there to knock it out towards the very end.
That was just a good hustle play on both ends. Two guys fighting for the football and just a little bit incomplete.
Watson and Cooper matched up one-on-one at the bottom of the screen is one heck of a matchup. These are two really good athletes. Jay Nava on the carry, picks up about 3.
Wouldn't want to tackle this guy.
That's going to do it here at the end of the third quarter, but the West has life. If they can put up 14 more, we're going to have ourselves a football game. They got 14 in the third quarter, but the East still leads thanks to our play calling. Not. 29-14. We're back with the fourth quarter on the CW 35. Welcome back to the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB here at the Alamodome, where the East leads 29-14. As we start the fourth quarter, the West with the football. And a 3rd down and 7 for the West squad. A slant to Jacob Groff and goes off his hands. He was the intended receiver, the young man we talked about earlier who had a basketball game today for Churchill. Stephen Ratama on the coverage. And Groff's a big kid.
At tweener, it's going to be interesting to see what position he plays at the next level, tight end or wide receiver. Go either way.
Yeah, he looks like a tight end, but he's fast enough to play wide receiver. We had a fantastic year for the Churchill Chargers, who had their best season in 20 years. Make it all the way to the regional final. And the West will punt it away. Connor Cheshire from Bandera on to do the duties again.
You got time.
Here's C.J. Williams from Steele. He's going to let that one bounce and takes an east hop. Out about the 25-yard line. We got playoff football coming up tomorrow. Chuck a little excited. The Giants taking on his Packers, 3:30 on Fox 29. Texans won today. They're moving on to play the Patriots in the next round.
Perhaps the Patriots, if the Dolphins win their game.
Oh, I thought they were automatic. They have to.
They reseed.
Oh, they reseed.
Remember they did that to us a couple of years ago to make things more confusing? Mission accomplished.
Atkins fires. Caught. Trying to fight for a first down is Antoine Ware.
That's going to be an interesting ball game.
That wasn't
tomorrow.
18. That was 12. And that's Presley Moy from Poth. Great to see kids represented from all the towns around San Antonio. Another ball thrown his way. Presley, a 5'10", 165-pound athlete out of Poth. Played quarterback. Threw for 14 touchdowns. Playing receiver in this game. Ball handed to Terrell Dunlap. He's from Cole. Looked good earlier.
Yeah, and that was a really nice play there because there sure didn't look like there was a whole lot available, and he found a little hole there and dove, lunged, and moved the sticks. A young man that played 3 different positions at Cole High School.
Atkins is going to keep. He's dragged down after a gain of about 4. Nathaniel Magallanes from Jefferson there with the tackle.
See right now, Coach Morales trying to run a little bit of this clock. Give the West fewer possessions here in this final stanza.
Atkins keeps. He's got some space. Josh Atkins seeing the ability that he showed all year long as Brady Bean makes the tackle, the kid from Bracken Christian, the 6-man player. But that's what Josh Atkins was so impressive all year long. Smithson Valley didn't quite get the pub early in the season that Steele and Clemens and Judson were getting as he looks deep, has a man wide open, caught. Nick Sion all the way down inside the 10. John Rodriguez from D'Hanis on the coverage. But Sion getting wide open from St. Mary's Hall.
Yeah, just when you think they're going to try and ground and pound you and do little safe dump-off passes to move this clock, they take a shot downfield, and Josh Atkins hasn't missed many passes today. Another ball spot on. And yeah, you're right about these Smithson Valley kids, Don. I mean, they've all showed up well today. Colton Fulton, I should say.
There's Marquise Duncan.
Jack Gibbons as well. I mean, these kids, you know, they get in that Smithson Valley system when they're, you know, tykes. And they just play a lot of football. They see a lot of football. They're well coached. They all seem to have exceptional football IQs. Yeah, it's not a surprise when you come out to these all-star games and you see, you know, a lot of these kids that we've talked about today are born and bred in that Smithson Valley area.
Nate Davis in at running back. He's got it. He's going to score easily. Touchdown, Nate Davis, the Madison Maverick, just for Chuck. He wore 22 today, Chuck, just as a tribute to you at Madison High School.
I'm pretty sure that that was not the case, since he probably wasn't born. I don't know if his parents were born when I was toiling over there.
Turner Davidson on to kick. And his kick is good. And the East getting a little more breathing room here, now leading 36-14. We're back with the West and the football when we come back. Welcome back to the Alamodome. East over the West, 36-14. And the West will have the football. Waiting on the kick. Let's go down to Mike Hernandez, who I think's been the star of the game today. Just a couple of incredible catches. The one they took away from him on replay, his foot was in.
Yeah, we were just talking about Antoine Ware here. How you doing, son?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Okay, so we were talking about that catch that you made in the end zone that they called out of bounds. The replays, all of us think you were in.
I just seen the ball go up, try to get my left foot down. Fortunately, it was a touchdown, but.
Well, just between you and us, it was.
Thank you.
Okay, and that other catch down the middle, that was amazing. You just laid yourself out for that one.
Thank you. He called it a slant route, and I just seen the ball come out, saw the first down, try to get it. I just feel like I have to make the quarterbacks look good at every opportunity I get. So.
There you go. Yeah, and you did. So what are your plans for the future? What do you think you're going to be doing moving on from here?
Hopefully, I want to go to college, just play any college ball I can play, and then eventually build on from there.
Okay, you got any people that you have a special interest in?
I'm interested in Oklahoma State, A&M Commerce, but nothing really popping off at the moment right now.
Well, certainly some of the catches you've made today, if the recruiters are watching, if the college guys are watching, they got to be thinking you're the guy for them.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And by the way, his clips of his catches on CW35.com, and you can check those out for yourself. Good luck to you, man.
Thank you.
Keep us posted and see if anything happened after this game, because I'd be surprised if you don't get recruited heavily after this one.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care.
I think he can play at Texas A&M Commerce for sure, huh, Chuck?
Man, I'll tell you.
Big 12 may be a reach, but from what we've seen today, somebody's going to want to put that kid to work.
Yeah, I mean, those are two of the most unbelievable catches you're ever going to see. The same guy. I mean, that first one, what about the bravery factor? You know, just making that dive right in the middle of the field.
That ball's picked. It's going to the house the other way. Touchdown, Joe McGrath from Alamo Heights. 09 in the house.
We've had two of those today.
Two situations where linebackers just stayed at home in the zone and came up with a great play.
There's another kid, got good size, and here you see the speed and just playing center field, seeing where the ball's going to go and makes the most of his opportunities. Man, how do you choose MVP from this game? There's been so
hard.
many.
Yeah. So many good players. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the West will have it again. East leads 42-14. Welcome back to the Alamodome. It has been all East here in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. Although we have seen some outstanding individual performances as well by kids on the West squad. And as Chuck was just talking about, it's hard to select a single individual who's stood out today. It's just been a fantastic performance by many talented young men from the San Antonio area. 9:05 to go here, 43-14 our score. Another one of those pooch kicks. This was to Tapia. Big block on the near side. Tapia tries to stretch it. Tristan Stivers from Medina Valley. Another hit that we heard from up here.
Yeah, I thought this was an exhibition.
That may have been a little high, too.
And then after this, too, you know, there's some words being exchanged between kids, and it is football.
Yeah, it is a sport where you hit each other.
Right. Remember Kay Stevenson when he was here, coaching one of our CFL teams? I'll never forget the line he said, "It's football, not tiddlywinks."
That's right.
I don't even know what tiddlywinks are. Is that the game with the sticks?
Yeah, I was thinking it was more like a jacks or something, right? I don't know. Personnel grouping confusion as they run out of left tackle. Dennis Berry on from Jay.
Right there, go!
Novak's got it. He's going to get to the outside. He's going to get a first down and punish the tackler. Nick Novak from Bernie just ran right over the top of John Hernandez from Lavernia.
Got a really nice kick out block there too by Curtis Small from TMI. Helps seal the edge. Give this guy a lane to run through over there on the left side.
Novak's another kid. If you're a Texas Lutheran or a Howard Payne or somebody like that, that's a young man. If I was a scout out here today, I'd say I'd want him to play on my football team. We're got the wide open touchdown. Justin Eaton just got behind the East defenders and they got lost. He just snuck back there and a nice heave for the touchdown.
Well, it's interesting, you know, you have a little problems finding the ears on the snap, and all it did was freeze the back end of the defense. They thought this was going to be a fumble or some sort of sack, and quarterback and wide receiver freestyle. That's too easy. I wish they were all that easy.
Justin Eaton from Brack, 6'2", 175, averaged 25 yards a catch.
Yeah, had 3 picks too. Doing it on both sides.
Extra point is up and good. 43-20 our score. 8:20 left. We're coming back to the Dome after this.
Offside on the defense.
Great job by the West offense to see what the busted coverage was for the East. Justin Eaton making it 43-21 here at the Alamodome. Big thrill for Eaton, I'm sure, and his parents and friends and family who are all here. So many people have invested into these kids. They're coaches in middle school and high school, and I'm sure they all have their families and their coaches from their respective schools here. Everybody proud of them as they send them off into the world to the next level, be it college or whatever vocation they pursue. Some will go military, some will go to work, most will go to school, some will play football, some won't, but just a great reward to play here in the Alamodome in your hometown. Little knuckleball. Bryson Carroll has it. He's going to split the defense, and watch out. Good tackle to bring him down by Austin Alvarado from Clark. I met Austin's dad this week, and boy, was he proud of his young man. And we had them in the Gucci Bowl 2 years in a row, and that kid flew all over the field.
Yeah, he's got some college offers coming his way, too, and he's got amazing hair on top of it. Started growing it out. And
good flow, as you say.
Yeah, he sure does.
Hey, how about Jonathan Gessner going to Penn State? 6'2", 300. Just one a fantastic young man, number 74. And more contact on the field. Gessner, another one of those big kids that's just a great student as well. Adam Garcia making the tackle.
And again, we talk about it year in and year out. I mean, you know, we complained for years about San Antonio being under-recruited, and the word is getting out slowly but surely as you look at rosters all across the nation and you see San Antonio kids all over the place.
Presley Moy with the
catch. Go to New Mexico and see there's a couple of kids there playing, and you look at Florida rosters, sprinkled in San Antonio kids.
Yeah,
Oregon.
All over the place.
That's right.
And those Ivy Leaguers as well. Our graphic said Penn State. I believe he's going to Penn. He's a very bright young man. As Carroll keeps. He runs right into Court. Jaquist from Churchill and stood him right up. There's a district battle going head-to-head again. Churchill versus Roosevelt.
Yeah, we're going to see Court on the baseball field, too. These guys got all this talent. Can play football, can play baseball.
First down and 10 for Bryson Carroll and company. Carroll's going deep, and look at the zip on that ball. Overthrew Anderson.
Yeah, but good coverage downfield by Ryan Robertson.
Ryan Robertson from Kerrville-Tybee really having a big day.
Two guys down there. It's one of those things right now, you don't want to get beat deep. Keep everything in front of you.
It's great to see everybody represented. Kid from D'Hanis, St. Mary's Hall, Bracken Christian, Cameron Baker, a nice catch, and more big hits down there. That was Robertson again from Kerrville-Tybee.
Yeah, guys still selling out. Gotta like that in a game like this.
Well, they know who's in the stands, and there's a lot of recruiters here today.
Right. Juwan Anderson, 19, from Sam Houston. Big wide receiver down there, still throwing blocks, trying to spring his guy.
Yeah, he's singled up at the bottom of the screen. I'd go his way. Carroll, that ball's batted in the air and is picked off. Great play. Elijah Davis has been all over the place all day. If he was on the winning team, Chuck, I'd pick him for our player of the game, but the West is getting smacked here 43-21, but Elijah Davis called his name all afternoon long.
Well, what impresses me about Elijah Davis here is defensive linemen aren't supposed to have hands that good. You know, he makes that catch and then gets contacted right away, still holds on to it.
Yeah.
Let the big fella eat.
And he's been lining up some at linebacker. I think he wants to see if, he's quick enough to play, in the middle. But he's fast. He's all over the place. Again, they throw it up for Dennis Houston, who's been making plays. Stephen Ratana from McCullum on the coverage. Closer trying to take advantage of that one-on-one coverage.
Ratana doing a really nice job. He got a little shaken up there, but good job just staying on the inside, not allowing that ball to get over his head.
I'd go right back there with Ratama hurting the way he is right now. I don't know if they saw that, but pressure coming, hanging in there, taking a shot. But Hayden McMurray has it. Harold Watson was on the coverage, but it was that kid from Smithson Valley, Fullen again, who brought the heat and disrupted the quarterback play from the West.
Yeah, Harold Watson, you called it. He did a really nice job tracking that one down, because if he does it, that thing goes to the hizzy.
Dylan Record in at QB from Devine. Took a shot, now going deep. That ball is nearly picked off and then nearly caught. Michael Cooper. Harold Watson again there with the coverage. Twice this week I've heard from East coaches, and they said that Harold Watson may have had the best week of practice of any player out there. That kid, the corner from Judson, is just something special. And that's saying something with all the talent in this game. Record keeps, gets about a yard. But you're right, we're in a 43-21 ball game with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and the intensity level of play is just as high as it was on the first snap.
Yeah, and I felt bad for Dylan Record, having to throw a deep ball like that just on the play previous when somebody decided they were going to order ribs. Well, that's tough to do, man. Take a wicked shot and then have to stretch yourself out and throw it deep.
Kyrie Harris from Sam Houston again dominating the line of scrimmage up front. He's lined up right over the ball, 97. As Record throws, caught. What a job by Record to hang in there as he hits Connor Cheshire over the middle. Jack Gibbons, the Smithson Valley player, along with his teammate Colt Fulton there on the tackle.
Yeah, even Coach Closa appreciates that one. I mean, this kid has taken some wicked shots on this series and hung in there like a man.
I mean, he hung in there twice.
He delivered a strike on top of it.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 25. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
When you talk about, small town, small school, 3A type talent, that's Devine completing the Bandera right there on that possession.
Well, they're good players everywhere, Don. I mean, we see it week in and week out, and you could talk about the size of the towns and, the bigger schools have the numbers and all that, but I'm telling you, man, there are football players everywhere. You just got to go find them, and luckily we did, and we're seeing some of that on display today.
Record's the real deal. Showing some speed to get to the outside. Going to get to the cone. Did he score? Touchdown. Good for Dylan Record. I tell you what, he hung in there and took 2 monstrous shots in the pocket and completed passes under duress, and then shows his athletic ability to get the wheels into the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, just a super play, and yeah, you're right. Finishing off the drive-in style. He beat you with your arm, then beat you with his feet. Also beat him with his toughness on this particular play. Look at that, a little savvy, even switching the ball to his other hand.
Yeah, the plays that he made early in that drive when Colt Fullen just blew him up. Extra point, no good.
We've had several missed extra points today.
Well, that's one thing that takes a lot of practice, is that it's not on the kicker, it's on the
roughing kicker on the defense. Half the distance to the goal.
It's a 3-man deal, that battery of kicking, and it's the snap, the hold, and the kick. And when you don't have your traditional holder, you can struggle.
Yeah. That's what the Reagan kicker's saying, because he doesn't have his man Bradley Aarons here. Bradley, they were going to fly him in for the game, but I think he had a date in the Caymans with a couple of young ladies.
They're going to redo this one. We got a kid out here squatting 930. That's just amazing to me. 930-pound squat. McCord going to throw it back. Get a block.
Oh, nice block.
Great block. Touchdown. Brandon Falkway, a 2-point conversion, rather.
54 having himself a day.
Dorian Drayton from Brennan. Are they congratulating him for the block?
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's great.
You know, again, we cannot compliment these coaches and their staffs enough. I mean, we've had very few penalties.
An offensive lineman.
We've had trick plays. I mean, they really made this fun for what it is. Fun and entertaining, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Tackle eligible throwback 2-point conversion. Yeah, you put that in the playbook when you only have 5 practices?
I know it. Again, just the continuity, it's mystifying. I mean, football is obviously the ultimate team sport. I wonder 11 guys going on the same page every single play, and to do what these young guys are doing, and the coaches, very impressive.
Do they allow an onside kick in an all-star game like this?
Well, you know, I didn't know if they did or not, but you can tell by looking at what the East is doing right now. They're certainly expecting one.
Let's go down the sidelines and Mike Hernandez. Mike?
All right, let me turn you around. Use this camera right here. This is Dorian Drayton. How you doing, buddy? Just scored the touchdown.
Yeah, great.
All right, did it feel good?
Yeah, I feel great.
Is that your first touchdown?
First one ever, right there.
Really?
Yeah, big man touchdown right there, baby. Felt good.
You guys been practicing that all week?
Yeah, I've been trying to catch that all week. Practice. I've been practicing on it, so
that's recoverable.
I got it, so I feel good. Feel good.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the moment. All right, guys, back to you.
Don't tell him it was a 2-point conversion, not a touchdown.
I won't.
Man, that onside, it wasn't an onside kick, but it jumped up, had a chance to be recovered by the West. Dorian Drayton, 265. Playing at a great program there at Brennan. East will have it. With 4:42 left. And they're going to bring Bryson Carroll in to run the quarterback, and he's got Duncan from Reagan behind him. Marquise has only had a couple carries today. Both of them have been very impressive. He's only 5'5", but he is really quick. Carroll having to stretch this one. Great pursuit. 53. Ian Blake from Brandeis showing speed.
You're not kidding. You talked about the number of carries. I mean, when you got studs like Baker, Davis, Morgan, Duncan, Jackson, there's only one football.
Yeah. Ian Blake looking at Colorado State, Navy, and some other Ivy League schools.
I remember talking to the coaching staff earlier this year with Brandeis. They got like, I don't know, 12 of the top 100 kids ranked in their school rankings or playing football or something like that. I mean,
smart kids.
Yeah. IQ level off the charts at Brandeis High School.
There's Duncan again. I tell you, he may have the quickest burst of anybody that we've seen out here. They'll run in Jackson and Lumpkin here, as you may see Maldonado, or Coach Morales rather, try to just, as you said, Chuck, run clock. Oh, they're running a little, look like Wildcat for a second there. 3 running backs split right. That's all kinds of confusion.
Yeah, let's get a timeout.
I'd like to, Mike's on the other sideline, but I'd really like to know what they're thinking about running here. This is interesting.
Their second timeout of the half.
They lined up 5 wide, 3 running backs on one side, 2 receivers to the other, protecting a 43-29 lead with 3:26 to go.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're the East and you're Coach Morales, you want to pick up the sticks right here. I mean, this is still very much a football game. You give the ball back to these guys, they go down and score. And anything can happen, and 3:43 is a long time, or 3:26 I should say, left in the game is a long time.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Loud and clear, bro.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't sure here. So, Coach, all of a sudden it's getting a little interesting out here.
Yeah, it is. We spotted them 29. And now we got, the game's tied if we don't throw 2 pick sixes. So, no, I told you the kids aren't going to quit. They were determined at half. They were ready to go. They were smiling and having fun, and that's what this is about. And then you got an offensive lineman just scored his first touchdown, 2 extra point conversion. So
I know.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about. That's exactly right. All right, so what do we got planned here? How are you going to get?
We got to get the ball back. We got to stop them right here. Big play.
You gonna blitz them? You gonna do anything special?
We know blitzes, so we can't have blitzes. So, but we just got to stop them. There's the pass. There it is. We're getting it back.
All right.
Another shot. We're going to work.
Okay.
All right, we'll see what he's got drawn up his sleeve. I know Mikey's not going to listen to our play calls and trying to come back with 3:21 to go.
He's got better sense than that.
If he's smart, he's not going to listen to us. That's for sure.
What's that?
Well, we kind of helped the other side to call a couple of plays that didn't exactly go as planned. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well done, thank you.
How did you know it was done?
It was a Churchill guy. It had to be.
Right you up.
And he was a basketball player, not even a football player. So. It's all good. Kids are playing hard. Fun game.
Tapia.
Not a good player.
Tapia's a wonderful kid.
Now, Mike, tell Closa, I'm not a football guy, but I am smart enough that I go back to number 1.
Yeah.
That Jonathan Tapia is something special.
Yeah, he is, and he was just saying that. I don't know if you heard him say that, but he definitely. You can't be out here on this ball field and watch these kids play and not see that. Here we go. Let's join.
72Z, you got a slant backside. Block 1, 2, 3. We're looking for the post. 10, go to the post. Opposite corner.
All right, he's reading my mind. Of course, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. Post to Tapia here. And Jonathan Tapia lined up there on the inside slot, top of your screen. He's going to run right towards the middle of that helmet, that yellow helmet on the field.
Tapia called right here.
Army All-American Bowl
to
logo.
Eaton from Breckenridge.
Looks like they're going to go to Eaton first.
There we go. Go, Eaton. Go, Eaton.
Oh, they got it.
We got hit.
Yep.
Got to protect now. Throwing ball deep is fun, but you got to protect.
That's so true.
Here we go. Hustle back, Eaton. Hustle back, babe. Hustle back.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
7. Trey left, 7. Trey left, 7.
Trey left 7. What's that?
Block. Gap. Quarterback, read. Quarterback's reading it.
Better slide the protection.
2nd down 10. Got to get some yards here.
Oh, give it. Hand it.
I got a big 3rd down play here. 3rd and 10.
Deuce right. Deuce right. Move in. Deuce right. Deuce right. Out corner. Out corner.
So is this kind of like when we're playing out in the street at this point, you're kind of just moving stuff around, adjusting?
We're throwing out routes here. We're throwing 10-yard out, so he should be throwing right here. Get it.
Oh, great catch.
Almost got 4th and 1. 4th and 1. Justin Eaton on the catch.
Hey, read this right. Trey right on the side. Trey right. Trey right. Go.
Looks like they're running another Trey right here.
Trey.
Is that Nick Novak kid, man? If I had 4th and 1, I'd be 4th and 2.
4th and 1. We got to get a yard.
We're giving it to 250.
Got it.
Yeah, 250.
Ah, he's close. He might be short.
Who was that?
He's short. They held. Jacob Wallace right from Navarro with the tackle.
He didn't get it.
All right.
Jacob Wallace right came up, made a heck of a hit for the East squad.
You're not kidding, because Jay Nava is a load.
Nice job, 47. Again, we talked about the season that Navarro had. They played on the big stage. They played at Energy Stadium, where the Texans play, and state semifinals, and what a great way for Wright to go out. Think about being a kid in Navarro, Texas, and you play in Energy Stadium and the Alamodome in the same year.
That's
your
good year.
last 2 games of your high school career. Good for him. Juan Morales is going to call a timeout.
Timeout. East. Final timeout of the half.
Brock Pittman and his crew doing a great job, and as we've said all year on Thursday Night Lights, you think it looks easy? Give it a shot. They can always use more officials all across the state. They provide the training. You just commit to it. Good side job, good extra money. Texas Association of Sports Officials. Go to saofficials.com if you're interested in being a zebra. Tough job. I would not want to have that job, but they do a great job at it. And congratulations to all of our cheer challenge participants. Holmes got the $100,000 grant. Medina Valley, St. Anthony, and New Braunfels Canyon, all in the top 4. And our competition that we had all year long with our CPS Cheer Challenge. Thanks for participating for all of those.
Oh, there's a face mask.
No flag, although you called it, Chuck. It was quite obvious.
Just a little bit.
Did I say 100,000? Oh, $1,000 on the cheer challenge. My bad.
Dang.
That would be a heck of a cheer
Yeah,
challenge.
that's what I'm talking about. I might have to think about getting into cheerleading myself.
A $1,000 cheer challenge grand prize. You know, when you get to be 52, Chuck, you see things on the screen and something different comes out of your mouth.
You read something and what you just read was actually not what was written.
That happened on the air the other day. Randy Beamer turned to me and said, "You didn't mean that, you meant that." And I said, "That's what I said." He goes, "No, you didn't."
Yes, I know the feeling. It's a daily occurrence for me as well.
That just happened with 1,000. How did I turn 1,000 into 100,000? Here's some of the records over the years. Still holding up, 141 yards from Ray Burton back in 1984. Wilbur Odom played in this game. Went from Holmes to the University of Michigan in 87. Tyler Ahrens from Tivy went to Purdue. Kerry Cash, of course, one of the Cash twins. Reverse.
Oh, got some blocking.
You're going to throw it or you're going to keep running it? Antoine Ware. Antoine Ware on the reverse. Darian Hill making the tackle, and Antoine doesn't have a place to play, and I don't understand that. I think he will after today. The 2 best catches of the ball game.
I'm telling you, we gotta call our friends at ESPN and show them a couple of those catches today. I promise you those would show up somewhere.
Absolutely.
We have to do that tomorrow.
When you look at his physique, he's got a good build. He's big. Cameron Baker, Bulls straight ahead.
That's the thing too, Don, you know, as we wind down the clock, you have to kind of project out on some of these young men. I mean, some of them are going to get much bigger and stronger. Almost all of them are at the next level. And, you know, if they work hard, there's a lot of possibilities. Not a college recruiter, but you're right. I mean, you like what you see in a lot of these guys, and I don't think there's any question as to why, you know, a lot of these kids had already committed, and you can see some of these kids are still trying to figure it out.
Well, we've seen it. I mean, we saw Austin Hayes, who didn't have a look late at until Oklahoma State had a couple of other kids pull out. As Marquise Duncan goes right up the middle. He's clothesline, but boy, you see that burst again. But, you know, and that's why Oklahoma State does such a good job, some of these 2-stars that they develop. But I can tell you right now, and look at some of these kids that we've seen go to places and walk on, and then by the time they're juniors, they're starting at Big 12 schools. And Austin Hayes is one of those guys. He got a ride, but late to Oklahoma State. And I can tell you just by looking at it, Court Jaquist is a Division I linebacker somewhere. Now, he may have to walk on to earn his spot, but that kid, by the time he's 20 years old, we're going to see on Saturdays on the network, playing somewhere. That's going to do it. The East will beat the West 43-29 here in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. We're coming back to hand out the post-game hardware right after this.
Welcome to the HEB post-game show.
The East is the winner here, 43-29 at the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. Welcome back to the HEB post-game show. Time to hand out the hardware. Let's go down to the field, and Mike Hernandez. Mike.
Thank you, Don. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big hand for both teams, for their coaching staffs, Coach Morales, Coach Klasa, and their staffs for putting together such a great game today. It was an entertaining game. I'd like to thank San Antonio Sports also for bringing this together for the 39th year. How about a hand for them? And for you all your players, I'd like for you all to acknowledge your parents, your family, and your friends that have supported you throughout this whole time. Let's give them a big round of applause. All right. First off, we're going to start with our Coach George Pastorczyk team trophy. And where's Russ? Russ, we're going to go ahead and let you do this. Russ Bookbinder, CEO of San Antonio Sports, going to be presenting it to Coach Morales. How about a hand for Coach Morales and the winning team, the East? There you go, there you go. All right, and next, let me see. Also representing San Antonio Sports is Riley Walker. And to present your Whataburger Impact Player of the Game. You know what, we could have given this to so many people. There were so many outstanding efforts today, offensively and defensively. And congratulations, and there shouldn't be a wonder in anybody's mind why you guys were chosen to play today. Y'all did an outstanding job. But we got to give it to somebody, so the Whataburger Impact Player of the Game goes to quarterback of the East, Josh Atkins. There you go.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, what'd you think of the game?
It was a lot of fun. Got to play with some guys that I play with, and it was a lot of fun getting out here playing with some great athletes.
Well, congratulations, and again, Coach.
Yes.
Yeah, you did a fabulous job out here today, as both coaches did and both staffs. What did you think? Was it fun for you as it appeared to be?
It was extremely fun. We had a great time. These gentlemen, all of them from both teams, are just great young men all the way around. I know Coach Klasa shares my thoughts in saying that this was a great week and a great experience to be able to be a part of this.
All right, well, God bless you. Good luck. Continued success to both of y'all, to the San Antonio Sports, and everybody here. God bless. Be safe. Be careful driving home. And another big hand for your all-star teams this year. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Mike. East squad victorious. Coach Morales doing a great job, as did Danny Klasa and the West. And again, our congratulations to all the young men on their fantastic careers in high school. And they got to go it one more time. Josh Atkins, your MVP right there, getting it started. To C.J. Williams from Steele, and Chuck, the defense from Smithson Valley, just as good as the offense.
We talked about the Smithson Valley kids and all of them showing up today. And again, so hard to pick just one MVP when so many kids stood out. What a ball game for all these guys.
Mikel Jackson from Judson High School and Travell Lumpkin from Steele added a couple of rushing touchdowns. And Bryce Rivers hit Jonathan Tapia, who really showed out today.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns for Tapia.
Look at
this one. Unbelievable.
Antoine Ware with a couple of fantastic catches, too. Nate Davis from Madison got in the end zone, and then another pick 6 Alamo Heights is home with the score. It was a fun time. Justin Eaton scoring late as the West rallied after being down big, 29-0. Kids from all over. Rickard from Divine throwing back to the big fella for the two-point conversion. We won't tell him it wasn't a touchdown. Might beat us up, and you could tell. Hey, Chris Kotfus has been our producer and director most of the year and all season long on Thursday Night Lights. Also, Brian Watts, the director today. And for those guys in the truck and for the rest of the crew, and there's lots of them, we will miss high school football until Thursday Night Lights next year. We look forward to calling another season of Church's Chicken Thursday Night Lights. So for Chuck Mikatinik, Mike Hernandez, spotter extraordinaire intern Derek, Chris, Brian, and the rest of the crew, good night and God bless.